ASL Season 13 Group F. It's the return of Jaedong, and I'm curious to hear his thoughts in particular on his group. So let's get into interviews with our players.
Right, we're once again back to another ASL Season 13 Round of 24 Group F. This is going to be the last group, the group stage in a round of 24. We have been watching lots of great players make it into round of 16. We're also excited to see some coming back players like Jaedong, Movie, and some other players as well. And we're welcoming how they are doing. First of all, we're going to be talking with Soulkey. We saw you playing really well from last season, but Queen stopped you in a quarterfinal. So we heard and got some information about you that you have some trouble in ZVZ. Do you think you can overcome in ZVZ? So Soulkey says he would like to overcome in ZVZ matchup. However, it's better to avoid ZVZ first if he wants to climb up higher.
그 정도까지는 아니고요. 저도 약간 제 저저전은 약간 어중전은 좀 이기거든요.
So what do you think of your ZVZ and Soulkey answers?
만나면 좀 힘들더라고요.
Whenever he plays against somewhat mid-tier pro ZVZ, then he usually wins. But whenever he faces one of the top Zerg player like Queen, Hero, Soma, then he has some trouble in ZVZ.
다소 조금 진영호 선수를 어렵게 만들었던 선수들이 포진해 있습니다. 그만큼 많은 준비를 해오셨을 거라는 생각이 드는데 어떠신가요 오늘 경기?
뭐 최선을 다
You were playing okay in the last season.
결과가 잘 나왔으면 좋겠습니다.
And you are also stopping some players as well, like not letting them to climb up higher. And how do you think you're gonna be playing well today? Ruby wants to play just like as usual, so he can perform really well today's game. But he seems like he's not that confident enough to play well today. So how do you feel, Mong? You were always getting stopped in round of 16 or round of 24. I think Mong got eliminated in round of 24, so that's what they're talking about. So how do you feel about today? And Mong is saying he has prepared a lot. Like he wasn't preparing, well he did prepare for last season too, but he wasn't actually trying hard. So this time in this 2022 season 13, ASL season 13, he wants to play better. And he wants to play with his 100% skill. JD, we have seen you coming back recently, and you were playing really well, and also made it into ASL round of 24 in day 1. How do you feel? So he has been on an ASL stage for a long time. And a lot of fans are rooting for him, having lots of expectation, high expectation. So he doesn't want them to feel upset when he loses. So how do you feel whenever you're looking at the military Jaedong, fake Jaedong, and playing really well on a round of 24? What do you think about them? So the JD said those players like military Jaedong and a fake Jaedong like Soma, they were playing really well in round of 24, kind of motivating and inspiring JD to play much better for this ASL season 13. So one other question to Soulkey, you are done with your military service. He has done the public service instead of the military service. Are you still maintaining your daily routine? And Soulkey says, Soulkey is saying that something about the daily routine doesn't really matter. Like his daily routine got messed up. He is probably saying that he sleeps in the morning instead, and it doesn't really affect his gameplay.
16강에 어느 정도의 자신감을 가지고 계실지.
So movie, you were playing serious in this StarCraft scene, the competitive scene. Are you really feeling that confident to make it into round of 16? And movie is saying he recently joined one of the StarCraft Africa StarCraft university content, Bosford. He wants to play really well, and because they're his fans and the schoolmate, everyone is pretty much rooting for him, having expectation that he will play well. So he wants to play really well today's game. So one other question to Mong. Recent game, Mong has been playing really well. What do you think of your opponents today?
대학 콘텐츠 하면서 이제 그 NSU 이제 대학에서 모든 이제 이사장님과 이 모든 분들이 이제 좀 이렇게 마음의 안정이 될 수 있게 많이 도와주다 보니까 이제 게임을 편하게 하면서 이제 저를 이제
his support pretty much like the university. So Mong is also one of the he's also in one of the school NSU. NSU is the leader and the sponsor guy. Is helping him to feel comfortable and play really well for the recent games on online matches or spawn matches. So he thinks that kind of helped him to play really well recently.
열심히 한번 불태워 볼게요.
네.
So the caster said something about food menu. So Mong, I guess he wants to play something feeling comfortable in this group stage, offline stage, so he can play as usual. So JD is also in one of the StarCraft University, Bosford. And a lot of things have changed on Africa platform, like Africa content. And you also started to change what you want to do for your live stream content. Was there some difficulty of getting along with people or getting along with this new different atmosphere that you're on an Africa platform? And JD said since a lot of other pros are joining those university and teaching other students, he's just pretty much saying he has to do it because there's not much of players to practice with. And any last word before we go into the game? He'll try his best. And Mong said he will chew every single opponent he will be playing against. Movie is also saying he'll try his best too.
기대하시는 만큼 꼭 올라가도록 하겠습니다.
So having lots of fans having expectations, so he will play really well as well for Soulkey too. Thank you for the interview.
자, 이제 남은 16강의 자리는 단 두 자리입니다. F조 경기를 통해 과연 어떤 두 명의 선수가 16강에 올라갈 수 있을지 ASL 시즌 13 24강
So that was a Ask ASL event. You can ask ASL to your player. Your comment gets selected. You get the ASL mini humidifier. And we'll go into players' information soon.
Yep, thank you for the interviews, Scan. And our first match is going to be Soulkey versus Movie. Oh, we're already on the Hot 6 decks. But Soulkey versus Movie, what are your thoughts here? I think Soulkey's a big favorite here, is he not?
Well, I totally have to agree with you because, I mean, we have seen Tier 4 Zerg player beating Tier 1. I don't think it's gonna work in a vice versa way. Like Tier 4 player Protoss beating Tier 1 Zerg. I think it's almost impossible.
Okay.
And if I try to remember from last season, remember Movie was playing against Hyuk on Lemon? That game was like literally slow pace. No one was attacking, and then just Protoss just got like the one death ball and then just started moving out, and then Hyuk wasn't able to stop it and just surrender the game.
Yeah, what I remember from Movies games, I don't remember if it was last season or some other tournament we were casting, but it seemed like Movies builds were just not as optimized as the other players. They seemed just off. They were just a little slow. Like yesterday, kind of. It's not that Sock's build was unoptimized, but you could see JYJ just running away in terms of supply and tempo on the map, and I kind of get the same feeling from general play from Movie, and versus someone like Soulkey, and especially versus Zerg players, you've got to be on top of your game. So I think it's going to be a big struggle here versus Soulkey in particular. Also, since it's Eclipse, where it's going to be even harder to get a third base. I would be very shocked if Movie takes down Soulkey. However, Movie is one of the few players thinking back to olden days where he does come up with clever builds. The first clever build that comes to mind is way back when Heartbreak Ridge was a map, and he went like 5-gate Goon, I think on 2 bases. And he did win versus, I think it was actually versus Jaedong he won.
It was.
Yeah, so he does have interesting playstyle. There is a world where he could pull out something weird and win, but if he plays standard, I think Soulkey's got it.
But I'm still considering whether that strategy will work or whatnot in this 2022 when all those players have been like collected all those data and better optimization than like 10 years ago strategies. So not sure how it's gonna be work. But we can see how he's gonna be doing.
Yeah, and then as far as Mong versus JD, you have any thoughts there? It sounded like yesterday you were liking Mong quite a bit.
Well, yes, because a lot of Zerg players, whenever they play on a 2-player map, they seem like they do not like about to play on a 2-player map because as Zerg, whenever you're playing against Terran, you would like to have the 4th gas and start making the Ultraless Scourge and Defiler switches, but I'm pretty sure Mong is not going to be letting JD to take the 4th gas.
Well, we're getting a look at Soulkey's statistics here, and his best matchup is versus Protoss. Well, pretty much a similar win rate versus Terran, as we stated yesterday. ZVZ was, or has been, his downfall, even Zero calling him out as having weak ZVZ. I mean, to have a 37% win rate, I mean, that's almost 40%. I don't know if that's exactly a weak ZVZ, but definitely his Achilles heel for now. Curious to see Movie stats. I don't even know if he played in like the original seasons of ASL. I don't know how many games he's gotten played. Let's take a look here. And not as many games, pretty much as I expected. And versus Zerg is pretty much 45%, but again, not a lot of games played, so take that with a grain of salt.
Well, I guess he has made it into round of 24 7 times, and we can see his highest career in this ASL era is round of 16 in season 2 and season 5. So not that much of information we can see, but that's interesting to know. Movie's win rate is super low against Terran.
Yeah, you generally see Protoss players with their best win rate versus Terran, so that is a little bit surprising. I do like Movie's choice of song there. He's referencing his own name, and for those of you that don't know Korean, even Movie's real life name translates into Movie. So
yes,
I'm
that's
guessing
right.
that's why he picked that ID. Okay. Players are ready, so let's get into Game 1. Group F, this is the final day of the round of 24. We're going to finally figure out who's going to be our last 2 players making it into the round of 16. Movie looking to make an upset, and Soulkey trying to continue his trend moving into the round of 16 and beyond.
Yeah, we can see from players' cam that, of course, the studio is really, really cold. You always need to have these, the heating pack that we can see from Movie. He's holding it and try to warm up his hand before he goes into game. That's very important. If your hands are really, really cold on playing on an RTS game, it actually hurts. Like, you're consistently like tapping your keyboard like 300 APM, 400 APM, and your hands are cold. You feel like you're hitting the ice.
Yeah, that's totally true. Well, they are ready. Let's get into Game 1.
이클립스에서 게임을 시작합니다.
Right in the top right, our pink Zerg player, it is Soulkey. And in the bottom left, our brown Protoss player, it is Movie. Now, I of course don't watch that many Protoss streams, but I definitely don't watch Movie in particular. Do you know anything about openers? Is he like a gateway guy? Is he a forge guy?
Well, I don't know how exactly Movie plays, but I know his PvT playstyle, so yeah, I don't have that much of information. But we can see the ASL match history between Soulkey and Movie. 1-1. That's interesting. That was in the back then season 2. Season 2, maybe like 6 years ago, I believe, because ASL is only...
Ooh.
Ooh.
Pilot in her main. So, as I was talking about, Movie's got a bunch of builds, and this could be one of them to catch Soulkey off guard. I'm trying to think, like, does anybody have we even seen anybody play one base builds? I can't even remember who.
I remember. Mini versus Queen. He went for the Reaver build.
Oh yes, he did. And I was thinking like maybe Sens went for a one base build, but I actually don't remember if he did or not. So we'll see if this is going to be 2-gate opener or if this is going to be some type of tech build. Like Reaver is actually very strong on one base. I've seen a lot of games from, Bonneth in particular taking down very strong Zerg players.
Yeah, so I'm looking at carefully at movie supply because last time when Mini has done the one base products against Queen, he has gone for the 9-gate and movie has gone for the 9-gate. So it looks like this is 9-gate into 11-gate. So 9-11, 2-gate by movie. We can see he just got a 2 supply up. That's a Zealot production at 12. And interesting to see Soulkey is expanding towards the 12 o'clock. I feel like this is a bad decision making by Soulkey because how is he gonna be reacting to his movie's first Zealot aggression?
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about your comment about Mini versus Zero, the 2-gate was also on the same map, right? Like Mini sent all of his Zealots to the 3rd base, like we're seeing right here. Put 2 on the ramp, I remember that, and he traded so effectively here that we may actually have a complete repeat of that game. Now, Movie's already sending out his first Zealot. It has snuck by the Overlord, and still no intel at all for Soulkey. Finally, the Ling is going to come down here and see, where's your forge? Where's your gateway? Or maybe he's not going to see anything. Okay, there he goes.
Well, there's something that I have to mention about would be he didn't make that much of a Zergling. He finally realized this is a 2-gate opening, but he needs to squeeze those Zergling production in order to stop this.
Yes, 2nd and 3rd Zealot moving across the map. Now, first one's already into the natural, and it has snuck by, really. Like, it's... Okay, now finally Soulkey gets a glimpse of that. Or did he? Yeah, he does. He knows it's there, so he may be able to take... that doesn't seem like the greatest spot, but he's trying to get it synced up with his probe, but yeah, that was not the angle that Movie wanted. He now combos it with the probe, and now it will start killing Zerglings more efficiently. Well, I guess not. It just got taken down too quickly. But those 2 Zealots into the top middle base, that's going to be quite annoying.
Well, he's actually earning some time, and I think this is what Movie exactly wanted to play, because whenever you see Protoss is playing one base playstyle, you do not want to have 3 base Zerg. You want to put that extra, the 3rd hatchery at the natural or maybe at the main base, so you can actually have the shorter distance to defend your each bases. But he just has so many opens to defend from.
Well, unfortunately for Movie, he was not able to sync up the 3rd and 4th Zealot. I like his idea here. If he had have gotten 4 Zealots to top middle, I think it could have done a lot of damage. But losing the first Zealot, allowed Soulkey to clean up that single Zealot with basically a single Zergling in the main. And now these 2 Zealots, they're going to trade effectively here. But we already saw Soulkey scaling into his lair.
Yeah, we can see this game is really going weird, and we see Robotic Facility once again going up. I think Movie is exactly doing the same strategy where Mini has done it against Queen, because maybe this is what exactly he wanted to do, like copying how Mini was doing, and he wants to take down Soulkey in a different way. So I like about this strategy so far.
Yep, there's the Robo. I'm starting to get worried though, because the lair, I Okay, it is in the main. For some reason, I thought it was at the natural, but the lair will be completing pretty soon, and then I'm sure the spire will start pretty soon. Now, he's gonna have reroute before the Mutalisk, but the question to me is how long will he have before those mutas pop out? I'm not too sure if he'll be able to get a lot of damage done before the mutas actually get out. Probe is going to get taken down by those lings, but that's still a lot of zealots and a couple goons out already on the map.
I keep getting the computer update alert. I want to turn this off, but okay. So yeah, so far we are seeing the Zergling speed is done and Spartak is going up. So this different response than how Soulkey is doing than Queen, because Queen has gone for some sort of like a Hydra then, didn't he? And he wasn't able to defend because of the Reaver, just kept doing the Reaver micro and constantly doing the aggro from the behind with the Zealot is tanking from the front. And Soulkey is getting the Spartak instead. So yeah, how is Movie going to counter the Mutalisk?
I just don't see how he's going to counter it at all. He's gas starved, and he may just lose his entire army right here because that was a lot of lings that were built. And Soulkey isn't even all in with this. He's still got decent econ, but all of the zealots are going to fall. I would say what's lucky for Movie is at least the goons didn't fall, but he only has 2 of them. So once those Mutalisks do pop out, which I think they're going to be popping out soon because Soulkey just spent all of his gas, this game is probably just going to end because, of course, Reaver is not going to help him at all in that scenario. Oh my gosh, and the shuttle's just instantly going to get intercepted by these lings, so now Movie even knows where to go to just... Oh my gosh, he built 2 Scourge. Goodbye, shuttle.
Oh no, the Reaver just gets exploded in the air, and the Mura Zergling, definitely a nice strategy to counter against any sort of product build like Zealot Rush or Gun Rush or even Reaver build. So yeah, I don't know how Movie is going to be holding up. It was a nice try of going for the Reaver build, how exactly like Mini was doing back then, but didn't work out so well for against Soulkey.
Yeah, interesting play, and you knew he was trying to go for what Mini went for, but just a little bit too slow, and versus a top-tier player like Soulkey, you got to be on the ball, otherwise everything's just going to snowball in Soulkey's favor, and that's exactly what happened. So Soulkey, he's already into the winner's match with solid play, and unfortunately, Movie's going to be moving down into the loser's match. And we'll be going into Game 2 in just a second. This is going to be my matchup of the day. It's going to be Mong versus Jaedong, so that should be very exciting. And so don't go anywhere, guys, and we'll be back in like, 3 or 4 minutes or so.
Yeah, that wasn't really a great strategy by Movie, I would say, because he wasn't able to check whether that was a Hydra then opening or lair tech. Maybe if he had seen the lair tech, maybe he could have gone for like one base Stargate into maybe some sort of like a DT build, like how back then when I think that was in like 2004 or 2005, like people were doing that strategy.
Yeah, he could have, but I think he was just trying to blind counter the Hydras. Like, well, I think that's what he was going for, but unfortunately it was Mutas and kind of just happens that way. We're back, and we're going to be going into game 2. Oh, of course. ASL
course,
humidifier.
yes, we have to talk about this humidifier. This is winter. Since it's winter in Korea, we are using lots of heaters, so of course your body will get dried. So of course you need the humidifier to get some moisturize. But let's talk about this ASL season. We'll be talking about this ASL Season 13 event. Ask ASL. Go to ASL mainstream platform. Ask a question to your favorite player. And if your comment gets selected, you'll get the ASL mini humidifier. And there's also the winner's prediction. If your winner's prediction gets correct, then you'll also get the ASL mini humidifier.
Yep, and now we're going to be going into game 2. So this is going to be the matchup I was looking forward to. We've got Mong, very strong Terran player. We're going to get a look at his statistics here. Oh, that's not the stats that you want to see versus Zerg. It's almost his worst matchup here, just a 26% win rate. And now I'm curious what Jaedong's win rate is. It can't be down at 26% or so. I mean, he's just a monster. However, there are a ton of Terran players of the past that have been gods in the ASL, like Last, Flash, players of that caliber. So maybe this will be an even closer matchup than I thought. But you seem to like Mong quite a bit, especially on the 2-player map Eclipse.
Yeah. Mong was just drinking that huge bottle of the sport drink, Pocari Sweat. They removed the brand because they're not supposed to be advertising it. So yeah, he was drinking the iron drink. And we are also looking at JD. JD is doing decent against the Terran matchup, 10 wins and 7 losses.
Yeah, almost a 60% win rate. And actually, I know a lot of foreigners watched some of Jaedong's first games, and at least for foreigners, some of the first games that he played since coming back was versus you. Like, they remember seeing Black Tiger versus Scan. Maybe you can tell us more about Jaedong's current state of play versus Terran.
Well, before he has done his military service, he was somewhat stubborn of saying yeah, 2H Mura. Like that time, Soma was the one of the Zerg player try to want to be he wants to become a better player. Like Soma was getting knocked out in round of 16 or round of 24 back then. He was not liking about Soma's 2H Mira playstyle. He was arguing about it, but I guess while he's doing his military service and seeing how Soma is just becoming much a better player and climbing up higher with better strategy, so he started to accept that 2H Mira is the meta that you have to do. It fits to this better latency. Back then, before Remastered came out, there was a latency is higher than a Remastered client. So of course that time 3H Mira was better, but 2H Mira is of course it's much better option. So Jaedong is learning.
Well, we'll see what he opts for in this game. Our match is starting right now. It's Mong versus Jaedong on Eclipse. Okay, in the top right, our Terran player representing NSU, it is Mong. And in the bottom left, representing Passford, it is the one and only Jaedong. And it is surprising to hear that Jaedong was a 3Hatch fan, because as a Terran player, facing 2Hatch is just an absolute nightmare. It's so hard to gauge where Zerg is at. Are they all inning me? Are they going Hydra Guardian? Did they hide their Hydra Den? What is it actually coming at me? So to hear that from somebody who's one of the best Mutomicros of all time is a little surprising. And I'm curious to see, since he's obviously been watching a lot of Soma games, what he's come up with. And we do see that this is going to be a wall from Mong. Oh, no, is this an 8-Rex?
Oh, I think I know what that just happened. Mong messed up the timing of sending out his CV. He wanted to put down 9 depot, but he realized that he sent it out too early. And I guess he changed his plan that he wanted to go for 8 racks, in my opinion.
Okay, well, that does happen sometimes. I mean, even when I'm playing on ladder, I'm thinking about I'm going to 8 racks, and then all of a sudden I build a depot in my main, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's not a barracks. We'll see how Mong transitions this. Luckily for him, this is not an overpool or a 9 pool. It is going to be a 12 hatch from Jaedong. For a second, I thought it was going to be 11 hatch.
Oh yeah, 11 hatch is also a strategy against Protoss, because you want to get those larva advantage, like the larva cycle, so you can get those zergling out much faster. But in particular, like this Zerg vs Terran matchup, you do not need to save your larvae. When we see JD is doing the scout, he has drawn up. He actually drawn up one more after the hatchery. So is this going to be 12, 12, 12?
Yeah, still don't see spawning pool just yet, and the first Marine is already out. Now, Mong is one of the players that does play 1-1-1 style, but I see he instantly built the second depot, so that's not going to be the case, at least not yet, unless he's going to go for some type of delayed tech. Now, meanwhile, Drone comes in here, sees that this is an 8 racks, and he needs to plan accordingly. 2 drones already out chasing that SCV, and it's already down below half health. He may even kill it before he can even start a bunker. That would be a big win for Jaedong.
And I would like to talk something more about JD. JD, you can see from the minimap, the player cam, the camera boxes. Back then, before he has done his military service, he wasn't done with his military service. He said he does not like about the widescreen, but we can see he's playing on a widescreen. And he also changed his hockey too. He changed his hockey of doing the patrol with the Q, Mutalisk with the T or something like that. So yeah, so JD has been changing a lot, but let's see how well he can actually perform with this different environment. But that's a nice pickup of 2 Marine.
Yeah, he gets the 2 Marines, but Terran did get 3 drones, and I would say that's a pretty decent trade for both sides. However, Mong did lose both SCVs, so that does hurt. Behind this wall is going to be completed by that Rax, and this is going to be a 3 hatch follow-up with third base on location.
Well, that's disgusting.
I had a feeling you were going to say something like that.
I mean, whenever you see this 3 base gas, like how JD is doing, you cannot do +1 5 racks. Oh, but that's a lot of zergling. I guess is he gonna be committing? I mean, that's just too narrow. I mean, 3 Marine will just immediately stop the zergling easily. So yeah, so back to the topic where I was talking about this 3 hatchery build, like the outside of base. Yeah, look at this. Like Mong has pressured with the 8 racks, and he doesn't know what exactly JD is doing, so he's just gonna be assuming. Yeah, so I saw he didn't build the extractor while he's doing the bunker rush, and he knows JD. He probably thinks JD would have just gone for the extractor as soon as he stopped with the bunker rush, and he's not thinking about this the 3 base, the outside 3 base.
Yeah, once that 3 base kicks in, we know Zerg players know how to use it. So we'll see how Mong traverses this circumstance he's in. He's got, I think that's the second racks already going up, his academy coming in. And we may see similar playstyle to what we saw Royal pull out on Metaverse the other day versus Gameo.
Yeah, it feels like Mong's optimization seems really off, because he just started the +1 attack. He's getting the second racks. He doesn't have enough Vespene gas to get those steam pack upgrade. So I'm not sure what exactly Mong is thinking about this strategy, but let's take a look here. He's gonna be moving out with the 6th Marine, picking up the Zergling immediately. That's a nice move. SCV will be sneaking in, and he will be confirming how fast the lair attack is.
Yep, SCV also confirmed that that third base is up and running at the left side of the map. The 6th Marine move out did turn around, so no threat right now. Spire has just now started, and Mong still just on 2 barracks, so we don't see the barracks flood just yet. Since he's kind of just continuously pumping units, this may be something like 4 racks tech. That's what I'm guessing. I don't think it will be 5 racks, but it might be.
Well, I heard whenever you see outside 3 base like this, how JD is doing, you do not want to have like mass barracks. You want to tech up really fast and try to get those factory and starport really fast so you can counter it with some sort of like a siege tank with the vessel, like how Light was doing against Saxri, because remember, Light wasn't able to scout what Saxri was doing, and Saxri was doing the outside 3 base like this and making the Mutalisk, and Light decided to go for 3 racks factory, I believe, or 2 racks factory.
Yeah, Light is definitely one of those players that does like the tank rush. But what do you think about going for not just 6 dropships, but 8 dropships? Is that something that you could go for here?
Well, I would say it's not going to work because that 3rd base is so close to the main base that the Mutalist can defend from the main base, and then the 3rd expansion, like both of the expansion at the same time pretty much. So yeah, the distance actually matters whenever you want to use the dropship. So if JD ever has expanded towards to the 5 o'clock, then maybe 6 dropship, 8 dropship would have worked, but the 3rd base is just too close to his main base.
Yeah, and for those of you that are wondering what I'm referencing here, Scan was playing Sue before the stream started, and he went for 8 dropships.
Yeah, I wanted to end the game.
And just crushed him. But yeah, the 3rd base a little bit too close for that, so not expecting to see that. Also, I think that is the add-on to the factory, so it does look like it is going to be a tank push, just like you were expecting. 7 mutas, again, the magic number to one-shot these SCVs. And I'm sure Artos is going to have nightmares watching this VOD because half the SCV line is gone already.
I mean, I really hate this. I mean, you invested 300 minerals. Well, he got that 4th turret up a little late, but he invested like 300 minerals for the 4th turret. But none of the minerals has died, and he lost all the SCV, like 6 SCVs. Oh. What is this? Yeah, Tank Valkyrie. I like it. I think I know what this is. This is one of the strategies like how Suck usually does. Whenever Suck is doing the tank and the Valkyrie rush, he immediately switch over to the mech playstyle. So after the 1-1 upgrade with the Siege tank and Valkyrie pressure, I have a feeling Mong will go for late mech switches.
Well, I've been seeing more and more players actually switch into mech, so we'll see how successful this is versus Jaedong. On maps like Eclipse, where there's limited resources, if you can split the map, I really do like mech. However, it's very rare I actually see mech played on Eclipse. So we'll see how this pans out. First Valkyrie is coming out on the field. First 2 tanks are already done too, so this push will be very strong. I have to say, there's no vessel, so once Defiler gets out, he's going to have no counter to that for a while.
Oh, the Valkyrie.
Uh-oh. Goodbye, Valkyrie. Well, that did not do the damage that he wanted to do, and now this push is going to be a lot weaker. The mutas are going to be a lot more dangerous, but they did take a couple shots from the Valkyries, so they are damaged. However, we've got some hold lurkers, probably. I heard a scan go off. I don't think he saw it, though.
Ooh.
Oh, he does now. Perfect.
Yeah, whenever you scan the Zerg's natural and you do not see anything, you should be suspecting about the hold position lurker in the outside of the map, somewhere like the center of the map where Bio is moving towards to. So that was a very good guess by Mong, like expecting, oh my god, losing another Valkyrie. That's painful because those 2 Valkyrie that Mong just lost, he need them to just pretty much like damaging and make those Mutalists on a low HP so he can actually move forward easily. And this Mutalist just keep buying some time.
Yeah, and Valkyries are super expensive. Each of those Valkyries, if he's going to mech switch, could have been a factory. So not only did they not kill the mutas, he's also not going to be able to tech switch as fast. And he even built a 3rd Valkyrie. Now, unfortunately for Jaedong right there, does not pick off that extremely hurt tank. But it doesn't really matter because Dark Swarm is already done and he will push this back. I have to say, back in Mong's base, I don't see a command center being built. I don't see factory flood being built. So I don't know exactly what his transition here is because he doesn't even have science vessels out.
Well, yeah, Mong seems he's struggling, but we see armory is spinning, so I guess he will start building lots of factory momentarily. But yeah, I guess Mong is trying to decide whether he wants to keep pressuring the opponent or not. Oh, we see the command center has just thrown down. Defiler moving down. Gotta be careful.
Yep, Jaedong being careful with that Defiler to make sure it's not getting picked off. However, Zerg is already feeling confident to push down ramps, to push outside their natural, and with no additional factories being built, with no vessels really out on the field either, and with no command center, I'm very worried for Mong going into the mid and late game. But is he just going to throw these Valkyries away for these Mutas? It looks like he is, and that's going to be, what, 4 Valkyries now that have really not done much for him.
Yeah, a lot of Valkyries has just wasted. That's about like 1,000 mineral with the 500 Vespene gas. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive, and that means that his mech switch that we're seeing right now just now start at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. A lot of times you see factories already done. Dark Swarm comes down in the nick of time to keep these Marines from coming into the third base. But again, Jaedong's been on 3 bases for a while, and it looks like he's got multiple macro hatches in his main. So Jaedong killing it going into the mid game.
Yeah, JD has just started to throw some of Dark Swarm front so he can move out forward. I guess he's being very careful. I mean, if we try to think of not seeing those teal dot on the minimap, then we can see the map vision is pretty darn dark.
Yeah, he doesn't have that much intel. He does get to see the third base timing though. Ling is sitting there, and I'm not sure if he saw that dropship move out. I think it's gone unscouted, but there's so many Scourge, so many Mutilas available that I don't really think a drop is going to get much done, but maybe it will. Now, something a Terran never wants to see is a Zerg easily taking a 4th base like this.
I like this Mong's the build playstyle that he chose for this on Eclipse, because we have seen lots of Zerg players has just gone for those type of like a Hydra Lurker Defiler playstyle all the time on a 2-player map like an Eclipse, and maybe that could be the reason why Mong has prepared for the mech switches, because if you're just relying on the SK Terran playstyle like how Rush is doing, you end up adding additional factory anyways to make tank.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of mech versus that Hydra Lurker Defiler style, and it looks like that could be what Jaedong's going for, because he's got a decent amount of Hydras, could just be waiting to morph into Lurkers, but I do expect him actually to transition into Queens now that Vultures have been exposed. And 4th base is about to complete for Jaedong. He's got, a Greater Spire. You don't see that much these days, but since the Valkyrie count was completely evaporated and the vessel count and the vessels haven't even been shown, this is going to be the perfect move to shut down this natural.
And to me, Mong seems somewhat passive. He's trying to buy some time, having those spider mines and vultures standing in the front, but they will just get cleared immediately once those those Spider-Man was very careful. They probably could have died at the same time, but yeah, Mong is just keep using bio. I mean, I think he should not be using those bio. He should be just converting those supply for something else, like maybe use those bio for defending and using those mech army for offensively. And now there should be the Guardian being morphed. We just saw the player cam at the 3 o'clock side. I think he's now morphing the Guardian there. And I'm not sure how much of a vessel Mong actually has.
Ultra run by into the natural. Instant response from Jaedong though, so it's not going to deal as much damage as Mong wanted, but still. Oh my, why would he scan there? I have no idea, but he sees the Guardians being morphed at mid-right, and he needed to know that's coming because he has very skimpy anti-air. You can see instantly upgrading the Goliath range, but those Guardians are already done, and they're going to shut down this Nat.
Yeah, those Guardian will just start picking up the SCB, and I think Mong is just gonna be starting to fall apart because Zerg is already dreamy. He has 4 gas already. JD can do whatever he wants. Ooh, that Spider-Man connected to one of the Hydralists, but still a great job.
Yeah, but the bio did a lot of damage right there. Wipes out all the Lings, wipes out some Hydras, and that at least saves the 4th base for now. First Wraith comes out and may be able to tank down these Guardians. No, Vessel falls. Goliath, well, they're doing pretty well. The Wraith also fought, and another Vessel fell. And Jaedong's just starting to explode. There's so many macro hatches at this point that with all the attention on the right side of the map, he may be able to plow through right now through the center.
Yeah, those Zergling, Lurker, and even Hydralists are just keep moving forward. And the father is just making the... Okay, I didn't know there are more tanks on the high ground.
Yeah, that is a lot of tanks, but unfortunately the orange cloud doesn't care where the tanks are because you can't hit me. And that means that these 4 lurkers that got to the 3rd base can also cut off reinforcements from trying to save the 4th base. And that's exactly where Jaedong has headed.
Yeah, so I think Mong... I'm not sure how well he's going to be defending because that one single Defiler will be just making those darks from everywhere.
Lings and lurkers and hydras and defilers trying to get on top of this, on top of these tanks. Lings get into, no they don't, they got cleaned up. Almost got on top of the 3rd base. Those 4 tanks holding strong, but supplies still basically even. At least Mong has that powerful +2 power spike, but I noticed he has absolutely no armor upgrades, and they also are very important in TVZ when mech switching.
Well, that one vulture will be sneaking in. Whether okay, yeah, JD is actually responding to it, but it's still nice to know that Mong has the +2, so that means he has the future to play, like keeping up this game. And I feel JD has been just attacking so much that his the macro started to fall apart because of the vulture keeps picking up the drone like 1 or 2 every single time. And yeah, JD, I think JD could have just expanded to the bottom right and then 11 o'clock at the same time, but it feels like his tempo is somewhat a little bit slow.
Yeah, the lack of drones at the 4th base is really hurting him. It looks like he's saturated it now. He's got a 5th base coming up at top left. Noticed in Mong's natural that he's got about 7 SCVs on gas, so he needs to fix that ASAP. Meanwhile, top left is going to get taken out by just a handful of Marines, and we are seeing more of the Hydra switch right now. Oh, maybe it will survive, maybe?
No, it has taken him down. Well, we just heard like lots of skin go up. I guess Mong wants to find out where JD is moving towards it, and we just saw Defiler gets sniped by the spider mine, so that's not what JD wanted. Yeah, JD is he was doing so well until like 15-minute mark, but I think he's somewhat lacking with the drone count, that he is not able to transition into super late game here. Vultures just keep sniping the Defiler, maybe drone, doing lots of job.
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble now that Terran has stabilized onto 4 bases, and he's going into Ultralist. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. I was like, man, we need to see some queens, and there they are. I'm not sure if the vultures even saw them pop out. So if they didn't, you know, maybe JD can catch Mong with a few tanks out of position, like right there where there's not a lot of support, and collapse onto this 4th base. But Mong's in a pretty good position right now. He should start expanding to bottom right though, or try and take top left.
Well, that was funny how Mong was repairing the command center because I think he saw the queen, so he doesn't want that command center to be what is it called, infested.
Yeah, exactly. You never know when a queen might sneak through, so smart move there to repair that up. And that is so many queens. It's like 12, but it takes about 2 minutes to get the additional energy. So there is a window of opportunity for Mong to make something happen. I think he needs to deny. Well, if he goes to the bottom middle, it leaves his 4th base open. So I'd really like to see him try and collapse on the top left base and shut that down.
I do not like how JD is switch over to Ultralist because Ultralist is 200 mineral and 200 Vespin gas, and they're pretty darn expensive, and they do not kill spider mines. They don't kill spider mines. You just run over to the spider mines. That's just wasting your Ultralist. So I mean, try to remember like how Queen or Soma was playing against Mech. They always make a lot of queens and go for mass Hydralisk and mixing with the Zergling with whatever leftover mineral they have. And if JD just go for Ultralist like this and not having any range unit, okay, maybe he has some like 6 Hydralisks like that, but they're not that helping to clear the spider mines. He just keeps stepping on it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like just a couple Ultralisks and then really the majority of the army being Lings and Hydras. And for now, that seems what Jaedong is going for. It's not like he built 10 Ultralisks or anything. But those queens should have the energy now, or at least very soon. Yeah, we're about 20 seconds away. Okay, now he's building more Ultras than I thought. So I'm looking at the mini-map. Where's the exposed base for Mong? He can't have tanks everywhere. Like, you just can't. It's so hard to have perfect defense. And it looks like, actually, the natural might be exposed. Never mind. That's a lot of tanks coming in. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah, Mong is just turtling it up like Terran versus Protoss matchup. Like, yeah, you're not making carrier. I'm not gonna attack until I have plenty of army. So yeah, Mong is still not ready to go for the attack move because he's still at 165 supply. Mong needs to open up more supply with the depot here, but yeah, I guess he needs those income saturating the 11 o'clock base. He has been scanning a lot, and now a lot of our army started to move to the top right, top left. Defather, this is so narrow that Defather just got instantly sniped. Okay, I guess Queen JD got the vision, and he's about to use the Broodling, or is this a Parasite?
No, it's got to be Broodling, but unfortunately, Mong figured out where the attack was coming from, and Jaedong needs to turn around. Like, this is not going to work. Yes, I realized queens are going to one-shot the tanks, but there's so many units coming into this position that the army's already fizzled out before the queens can pop the tanks. So that was a failed attack from Jaedong there, but he's sending more to top left. I feel like this could be a big mistake. Maybe not. That's a lot of Lings.
Yeah, a lot of Lings, and where are the Mong's army? I mean, yeah, Goliaths are definitely great to clear this Zergling, but not only one, but these Zerglings are starting to kill some units like some siege tanks, some SCV, missile turret, and even trading off that siege tank really well.
Yeah, he did actually kill a decent amount of tanks right there, but more tanks coming in to reinforce. It's just non-stop Lings. Lings are actually so good in this scenario, especially when they have the queen support, obviously. But now with about 15 tanks into position, this attack may be denied, but he still killed a lot of vessels.
Yeah, nice snipe on the father, because he doesn't want those Darksworn keep throwing off on this 11 o'clock, and those siege tank with the +3 attack damage upgrade with the +2 armor now just kicked in, so Mong is defending really well. This is pretty darn solid. And yeah, I guess this is the downside of going for Ultralists and Zergling combo, because they're just all melee, all melee unit.
Well, now this is going to be the true test of Mong's intuition, because he knows that Zerg is most likely going to try and attack to mid-right, but he needs to get units over there. A lot of Lings and Ultras just instantly die in D-Matrix. That doesn't matter versus Queens. They just one-shot those tanks also. Jaedong's almost maxed out, but I don't see where his actual army is.
Yeah, JD is probably maxed because of squeezing all those larvae for more Ultralists. They are consuming 4 supply at a time, so maybe that could be the reason why his army looks so low, but having such a high supply. And yeah, I guess he's just overcoming to beat this mech with Ultralists and Zergling because of having these 6 gas.
Well, 6 gas Zerg is really hard to beat, especially when they've got queens and they've got the orange cloud and they've got Ultralists and the powerful Lings. And you can see finally Mong's supply has plummeted. It's down to 115. Jaedong still at 160 supply. He's on top of the production now.
Yeah, a lot of army just coming in a straight line, and now Scourges are okay. Yeah, I guess he's just doing the attack move, like as soon as the unit spawns, like drag and an attack on the minimap, like ASAP. So Scourge, he wasn't actually thinking about the Scourge connecting to the barracks. So yeah, you can see those little small mistakes. But yeah, he's clearing the spider mines, opening up another gap at the 4th expansion.
Yeah, GG comes out from Mong, and that means Jaedong, he's going to move on into the winner's match, and it's going to set up a ZVZ between him and Soulkey. I think Mong actually recovered quite well going into the mid game, got 4 base versus 4 base for a while, but Zerg just a little bit too powerful and ends up taking the game.
Yeah, that was a solid defense in the beginning by JD of tank Valkyrie pressure. I mean, it was a good opening by Mong, but I feel he wasn't paying attention of his Valkyrie so well that his tank pressure wasn't too strong in that game. Maybe if he didn't lose any of the Valkyrie while he was moving out, maybe the game would have been a different result, because he could have just moved out much quickly and start pressuring and taking down the Sunken much faster than usual.
Yeah, it definitely would have looked much different, but we're going to see Soulkey versus Jaedong in our winner's match. One of these are going to be making it into the round of 16. Oh, Hot 6 commercial. How can I forget?
Oh yeah, every time every game number 2 ends, we see the Hot 6 commercial. So Hot 6, the sports drink.
Of course.
Vital.
Into the rain. Yeah, it's vital. Into the rain. Gonna chug that one down. Looks like he's got the red one this time around. I wanted to ask you about the game we just saw. I actually get a lot of questions on how to beat queens. You know, there's, my opinion, there's 3 options. Well, 4 options. There's Goliath, there's Vessels, there's Wraith, and there's Valkyries. What do you like to build to counter queens?
Well,
is there a counter to queens?
Actually, I would say probably not. You just have to overcome with having more resource than the opponent. Because if you're making Wraith or Valkyrie, they will just instantly use Plague on your air unit, and your Valkyrie just will die one shot by Mass Hydra switch after they realize you have the anti-air unit. So those 2 options you said to me, like the Valkyrie or Wraith, probably not the great solution. So that means either you have to go for the Vessel and maybe having more Goliath, yes. But yes, you can kill those queens with the Goliath or with the Vessel, but they will just they will just die at the same time and using the Bruling. So yeah, you just have to overcome with resource. There's no like solution to that.
Yeah, it's hard to overcome too, because it feels bad, like to just watch a queen just instantly one-shot a tank. Whenever I play, I end up going Valkyries, but what happens sometimes is I have so much supply in Valkyries, they just go pure ground, and then of course the Valkyries don't help me at all. So I haven't run into the plagued Valkyries just yet. I guess I'm too low level on the ladder for that to happen, but...
Oh yeah, aren't you playing BSL?
I am playing BSL.
I think I saw you were at like 2400, 2500.
Yeah, I'm at the cutoff, I'm like 4th place or something in the American region. I'm at 2405 or something, so I'm hoping to get in, but I'm sure you saw the ratings. Some players are upwards of almost 2,700. This is like the highest rated BSL so far. It's really hard to make it in.
Why did they separate the region this time? Like, I don't think they have done the separating the region that time, but
I'm not sure exactly why they picked to separate it this time. I think they got feedback from some other players, and they're just going to do something different this time around.
So how does BSL work? Like how do you make it into BSL?
Well, first you have to be a non-Korean citizen, or if you are a Korean citizen, if you're a Korean citizen, you got to be playing or living in like Canada or US or somewhere outside of Korea. then apparently this season it's like you have different regions. You have to make it into like the top 4 or 5 for your region, but there's also a world region. So let's say there's 10 good players from Europe. Well, only 5 of them can get in through their region, but because there's a world region, those players can still make it in through the world slot. And it also gives opportunities for players that don't have a region, like Africa, for example. Maybe there's a superstar in Africa. He can make it in through that way. And there's like 20 spots or so, because 4 slots come from the winner of last season plus the players of Gosu League. You can also make it through Gosu League, but you got to make it like first through third or first through fourth. That's one way to also make it in.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're holding, what kind of paper they're holding, but talking something more about stuff. Did they drink? I think they drank.
Yeah, I'm assuming they did. I mean, Into the Rain so fast. That's probably an empty bottle he's got in his hand already. And we are going to be going to the commercial, and then we'll be back with ZVZ Jaedong vs Soulkey. We are back, and we're going to be going into our winners match. As you can see, it is Soulkey versus Jaedong. And our map is going to be Butter. We haven't seen this map that often, and this will be our first ZVZ on here, a 2-player map, so this is going to be fireworks. I turned on Bisou's stream for a moment, and I saw that it looked like they were looking at Jaedong's latest statistics in ZVZ. He has something like a 60% win rate. So again, JVZ, it's back, and we'll see if Soulkey can actually take down the monster in Jaedong in a ZVZ game.
Yes, I guess it was interesting to see how they want to ban Metaverse and what was the second map? The Monopoly. I guess
Monopoly.
I guess the Monopoly has every different location has different result of mining, like how efficient you're mining. So maybe that could be the reason one of the players did not want to play on a Monopoly. And Metaverse probably has to do with the 4-player map that you have to do lots of mining game, maybe.
Yeah, it is possible. So I guess Butter is just overall going to be a more evenish,
Oh yeah, both of the players will be mining at the right side too.
Okay, so of course we're going to be paying close attention to those mineral boosts. Make sure that both players put them on the right patches from the get-go, because ZVZ, this might be the most important matchup for mineral boosting. It's so low worker counts that it will matter every single second those workers are on the right patch. Looks like they are ready to get into Game 3. We're going to find out which Zerg player is going to be moving on into the round of 16. Is it going to be Soulkey, or is Jaedong going to be making a big splash moving into his first round of 16 in quite some time? In the top right, our blue Zerg player, it is Soulkey. And in the bottom right, our white Zerg player, it is Jaedong. Now, instantly I noticed that those players, I thought they had them on different patches, those drones. No, maybe not.
They are on the same mineral line. You can see it's almost identical. And so I guess Soulkey split the worker much better than JD here. Because I saw the first mineral, JD failed to do the horizontal mining earlier in the beginning. So I can see there is a small mistake by JD that Soulkey is starting to have more income. But it's almost even anyways here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like half a second difference between, if even a half a second. And we do see the ASL match history, only one game between these two players all the way back in 2017. So a little over 4 years. Now, this is interesting. We've got both players going for one of the most aggressive openers. It's going to be a 9 pool.
Okay, so 9 pool opening by both players. And they're also going to be meeting up the overlord at the center of the map at 3 o'clock side. But we see Soulkey has sent out his overlord to the natural. So I guess JD wants to see Soulkey's main base immediately. But I'm not sure whether that overlord will see 6 Zergling moving out on the map. But one thing we have to be careful knowing about whether this is going to the 9 pool speed or 9 pool into lair first.
And we do see a slight deviation. We saw Jaedong get his gas up a couple seconds faster than Soulkey, so he may have something like 20 to 30 additional gas. Not sure where he'll want to use that, but it is something to note.
Yeah, Soulkey, I think Soulkey mined the gas somewhat slower, and his overlord came out much faster than JD. So I guess Soulkey is the one who wants to go for the lair tech first instead of the Zergling speed, and JD is also sort of about the lair tech first. Interesting.
Yep, both players going for mirrored builds. And both players, well, I was going to say both players aren't going to see the Lings, but Jaedong does just show his Lings. And of course, we know Jaedong has no idea what the build order is right now because he did not go straight to the Nat. He hasn't even gotten into the main completely yet either. So he's pretty much in the dark. This will be his first intel clue right now, seeing the Lings sitting outside the natural. Uh-oh.
Got a couple hit, but you definitely do not want to lose your Zergling. You want to have those Zergling on almost like 100% full HP. Yeah, Soulkey, we can see he's mining his gas with the 3 drone for a long time, and we see JD was cutting up the gas earlier. I guess since Soulkey has seen JD's 6th lane with his first Overlord, I guess he made some drone while he's making the Zergling, so he has more of a slightly resource advantage compared to JD here. We see JD seems like he has cancelled the Zergling speed.
Yeah, both players Spire though, basically identical timings. There's a slight supply lead for Jaedong right now. He's 17 to 16. Both players just spamming out those Lings, making sure that they do not lose a Zergling fight. Now, did Jaedong sneak an extra drone? It looks like he has 9 drones versus just 7 on the mineral patches for Soulkey.
Well, he has put down another hatchery and still have 9 drone on the mineral, so JD did have more drone than Soulkey so far, and yeah, I guess both of the players has decided to cancel the Zergling speed as soon as that was in a 9 full speed. So that's a great move by both players. But we see Soulkey is the one gonna be containing JD, and he will be having the expansion at the Nat.
Yep, hatchery in the main for Jaedong. Meanwhile, that Nat expansion for Soulkey. So the later the game goes, the better it will be for Soulkey. So Jaedong's going to be the one that has to make something happen. We can see Soulkey attacking that egg, trying to open up a little bit more surface area, trying to get a gauge on the Ling count. It looks like it is something like 12 versus 12, or maybe 12 versus 10. Yeah, 12 versus 10. So Ling advantage right now for Soulkey.
Great response of pulling back the Zergling before those Mutalisk comes out. And yeah, both of the players are hiding their Overlord identically at 3 o'clock. So, okay, one Zergling will fall. I guess that was a mistake. I guess maybe he wanted to check how fast the natural expansion was, but I guess, yeah.
Yep, both players have Mutalisk out on the map at the same time. Looks like Jaedong has 1 additional round of Mutalisk right now. It's 29 to 27. So that could come into play. Hatchery is finished for both players. Remember, Hatchery's in the main for Jaedong, so he needs to do something to deny this natural from Soulkey. But Soulkey's drone count, I think, is lacking in comparison to Jaedong.
Yeah, now JD will be realizing there's a natural expansion at the 12 o'clock for Soulkey, so JD should be... he has to go. I mean, if he just gives too much time for Soulkey, then he will just overcome with those 2 gas Muta. And we see Soulkey has pulled one of the drone from main base to get the extractor up. But looks like JD is squeezing all of his resource for the timing attack here. Is he still waiting for the additional unit? Yeah, there are 2 more Scourges are coming from the behind.
Yep, and Soulkey moving across the map too. Both players not... Well, actually, Soulkey's doing a better job figuring out where the Mutalisks are. Just like in the game versus Mong, there's almost no vision for Jaedong through the center of the map, or even on the bottom side of the map. He has no idea where the Mutalisks could be. You see him patrolling back and forth, trying to find these Mutalisks, but we know that Soulkey's just defending right now.
Oh, is this the Goma with the Zergling and Mass Scourge by JD? Well, he does have 7 Mutalisks. It seems like the magic number or whatever it is, but yeah, Soulkey is the one defending. So of course Soulkey will have some advantage, but if he ever makes the mistake with this Muta Micro, that will be a big time triple buy. The Overlord will be spotting the Mutalisks and Scourge. Is he gonna be going for the move?
So it's 8 Mutas versus 8 Mutas right now. The Scourge are in favor of Jaedong too. Now the Ling battle is also in favor of Jaedong, and this could be Jaedong taking down Soulkey. It's going to come down to this Mutalist fight, but meanwhile Lings are getting into the main.
And Soulkey somehow saved those drone. Nicely done. Squeezing all of his resource for Scourges, but I guess a lot of Scourges actually hit on the Soulkey, and yeah, we can see JD's Mutalists are almost a full HP, and the hatchery is almost going to be taken up, but drones are now started to fall off, and Soulkey, I guess he's no longer can defend, and now we see JD is going to be expanding at the natural as well, so 3 hatchery additional hatchery advantage for JD, and Soulkey kept getting the supply block here. Ooh.
Yes, massive supply block, massive advantage for Jaedong. His 3rd hatch is going to come up right now. Soulkey has the gas advantage and he's mining more gas at his natural, but he only has like 4 drones in his main and he's still supply blocked. So it's a huge lead for Jaedong, and you can see Soulkey realizes, hey, I don't even need gas. I need straight up minerals so I can actually build units.
I think you were about to say money. Well,
yeah, I was gonna say money.
Yeah, Soulkey definitely needs money. He used his ID back then. Let's need money. Yes, he needs money, but I guess he decided to change his nickname to Soulkey here. But yeah, okay, I guess he got the overlord open. Now I don't think he can go for the late game potential here. Soulkey just needs to get that second gas immediately and start having mass scourge with 11 Mutalists with the mass scourge timing attack.
Well, we'll see what he opts into. He's done a good job to close the gap in supply. It's 47 to 42, and there is the mass scourge that you were talking about, and 2 Scourge connect instantly onto one of his Mutalisk.
Well, that's not what he wanted. I guess he's gonna be waiting until 11 Mutalisk once again.
Oh. Just getting blindsided by random Scourge in the center of the map, and now there is a 1 Mutalisk advantage for Jaedong. He also has, I would say, a comparable amount of Scourge, and he ends up finding a straggler Mutalisk, and he takes it down in an instant. Now he's got Scourge all by themselves. He's got perfect Muta Micro. He hasn't taken a single hit yet, and this is probably going to be the final fight right here. None of the Scourge are connecting for Soulkey.
That was a terrible Muta Micro by Soulkey I've seen. I mean, yeah, that was really, really terrible. All the Scourge did connect. Almost barely. Okay, maybe two Scourges actually connected to Mutalisk, and now JD is going to be having overwhelming amount of Mutalisk, and it's going to be in the Muta Micro here. Yeah, Soulkey is just scratching his head. Why did I make a mistake with the Micro here? I guess he just wants to be warm up with the Scourge yet. He knows he loses this game. Oh yeah, there's instant tap out. GG is called.
Yep, and congratulations to Jaedong. It was impeccable play. The Ling Flood comboed with the Muta control was immaculate, and he's back. He takes down Mong in a great game on Eclipse, and clearly his ZVZ is something else because he smashed Soulkey in this game.
Yeah, that was a very awful Muta Micro I've ever seen in my life. In a offline stage, but maybe
well, I mean,
maybe he should have done something unique. Like, didn't he do something like a proxy hatchery and then start making the Zerging from there? Maybe that could have worked much better than doing this Muta Micro battle.
Yeah, the Scourge connecting is something you rarely see at pro level, but unfortunately it just wasn't Soulkey's day, at least in that matchup. But you got to give credit to Jaedong there. He played very well. He hit everything, and his Muta control at the very end versus the Scourge was obviously something to to see. Like, he played it extremely well, and he's deserving to make it into the round of 16. And now we see that he's heading off to the interview.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna be moving into the interview soon. JD here.
24강 마지막 F조 경기에 함께하고
So we are right
계십니다.
now
오늘의
watching
첫 번째
ASL Season
16강
13
진출자가
Round of
탄생했는데요.
24
돌아온
Group
폭군
F.
이재동 선수입니다.
This is the last group.
축하드립니다.
First player who will be advancing into the round of 16. That will be
시즌 6
JD.
이후에 7번째
Congratulations.
시즌 만에 다시 한번 조지명식에서 이재동 선수를
So,
볼 수 있게 됐습니다.
You are gone for 7
하셨지만
seasons and now you're once again back to round of 16.
돌아오셔서 긴장도 많이
How do you
되셨을
feel?
것 같은데
And I'm pretty sure since you haven't played for a long time,
경기력으로 16강에 다시 올라가시네요. 기분을 좀 여쭤볼까요?
so you probably have some uncomfortable atmosphere of playing on this offline stage. How do you feel about today's game?
떨리는데
So JD said he's very nervous.
호흡이 자꾸 이렇게 올라가지고
네.
He wants to manage
일단 너무
taking care of his breath.
실력으로 올라간 것 같아가지고
So he's satisfied with
저는 이재동 선수를
With his
ASL을
gameplay.
통해서만 뵀지만 이렇게 긴장하시는 모습은 또 정말 처음 뵙는 것 같아요.
So he thinks he thinks he made it into round of 16 with his superior skill.
또 짐작이 갑니다. 오늘 본인이 만족스러운 경기를 좀 펼치셔서 더 이야기를 나눠보고 싶은데요.
So we would like to talk about more of your game
경기,
since
윤찬희
you're
선수가
satisfied with your
경기를
game.
정말 많이 준비해 온 게 느껴졌어요.
So while we were watching game
좀
number 2,
전환이
JD
있었거든요.
versus
초반에
Mong,
8배럭으로
your
공격을
game.
갔는데 이재동 선수가
we
크게
felt like Mong has
밀었지만
prepared a
그래도
lot.
그 다음에
We have seen
윤찬희 선수가 다시 한번
desperation of
바이올렛
Mong
조합으로도 발키리를
doing his
기동한 공격을 또 한 번
8
갔어요.
racks
그리고
into
나서 다시 한번 레이트
bio
메카닉으로
tank,
전환했습니다.
bio
이 순간순간
tank
이재동
and
선수가 좀
Valkyrie
위기감을 느꼈던
into
순간이
mech switches. Was there any
준비를 굉장히 많이 했어요.
was there any
그래서
specific
다
time
생각을
you
하고
thought
있었던 그래도
you were on a
경기가
bad
오기
situation?
전에도 똑같은
And JD
식으로
said
연습을 했었기 때문에
he was actually practicing in this type of game scenario.
위기라고
So he
생각을
never felt any pressure.
중간에 살짝 제가 이제 집중력을 좀 잃었었어요.
So in the middle of the game, he lost his concentration. So there was a time where he started to lose his tempo,
아무래도 뭐
but he
이재동
tried to
선수는 저저전
focus
워낙
on
잘하는
his
선수지만
game rhythm,
그래도 또 승자전 경기에서
and he managed to keep up the
조금은
pace
부담스러우지-
and able to win the
부담스럽진
game.
않으셨나요?
저는 무조건 이긴다고 생각하고 왔고 저우전 준비하면서도 경기장에서 만약에
So
저우전 하게 된다면 제가
were you feeling?
웬만하면 제가 실수만
Were you
안
having that
하면
feeling
이긴다고
that you're gonna be making it into round of 16?
자신감도 정말
And
오랜만에
JD
이재동
said
선수
he had
특유의
100%
자신감이
confident that he will
보이는
make it into round of
인터뷰
16.
이제 16강
He will never lose.
조지명식에서 팬들과 또 함께
So
하실 수 있게
he likes about
됐습니다.
his result.
어떤 모습 좀 보여주고 싶으신가요?
What would you like to show to your fans or your to your audience? He will prepare a lot. Whoever he's playing against, he thinks it's always going to be fighting against himself instead of fighting against his opponent. You just have to fight yourself and become better
뿐만
player.
아니라 이재동 선수 함께 하고 있는 동료들을 중에 또 언급을 기다리고 있는 동료가 있다고 알고 있는데
So he's not
혹시
scared to play
하고 싶은
against
말씀
anyone.
있으실까요?
예, 일단
Is there any
연습을
people
되게
that
많이
you want to do some
도와줘가지고
shout out? A lot of people
사실
have
아까
helped.
메모장에 적어왔는데 지금 없는데 일단 기억나는 대로 말씀드리자면
JD said he actually took a note. Try to remember all those player practice partner. Bisu, Hero.
저전 이긴 것 같고 그리고 영웅이도 많이 도와줘.
Oh, Speed. He's also mentioning about Speed.
그리고 제가 알기로는 그 저희 바스포드 이사장님이신 감스트님이
He's also saying thank you to Basford, the sponsor guy, Gamst.
감스트님한테도 감사하고요. 그리고 응원해주는 그
And he's also wants to say
멤버들 다들
thank you for the rooting,
마지막으로
rooting him
항상
and Basford team.
팬분들께 감사합니다.
네, 돌아온 폭군 정말
He says
환영하고요.
thanks.
이번 시즌 멋진 모습 기대하겠습니다. 인터뷰
Looks like he's
고맙습니다.
holding his tear back then, getting some emotion
자,
there.
이렇게 해서 마지막 24강
So thank you for the interview.
첫 번째 16강 진출자 이재동 선수와 함께했습니다. 저희는 잠시 후에 두 번째 진출자와 돌아오겠습니다.
Thank you for that. And we're going to be back with our losers match in a couple minutes. It's going to be Mong versus Movie. So don't go anywhere. it's now time to find out whose dreams of making it into the round of 16 will be dashed. Is it going to be Mong or is it going to be Movie? We see Mong vetoed Butter, and meanwhile Movie vetoed Metaverse, and that means that we are going to be playing on Monopoly. So we're going to have another Terran versus Protoss.
Well, I guess Terran just doesn't have that much of option to ban the map because you definitely do not want to play on Butter because it's 2-player map. You always gonna get gas stolen. So yeah, it's kind of sad. Either it's gonna be Monopoly or Metaverse for Terran.
Yeah, I think we've only seen all the Monopoly games I think we've seen so far had at least one Protoss player. Like yesterday we saw PvP with Gemchi. Was it yesterday? Maybe the day before with Gemchi and Snow. But yeah, I think the other Protoss game we saw on here was Oh, I remember yesterday. It was Royal versus Ruin, right? And Ruin just got absolutely crushed with that timing attack. So again, we're going to see.
You mean Sock?
Oh yeah, Sock, not Royal. I knew it was not Royal after I said it. I was like, that's not right, but I couldn't think of his name. So, Mong has definitely watched those games, and I'm curious to see what he's going to come up with here versus Movie. Now, was it you telling me that players are going for 3-gate, 3 Stargate carrier? I saw Movie and Bisu doing that recently, and it was pretty successful.
Well, if you're playing on Monopoly, you can pretty much abuse those terrain and just keep harassing with your carrier. I mean, the center is just completely island, so yeah, carrier is definitely a great transition in this type of map. So I wonder how Movie is going to be doing. Movie is one of the players who kind of likes to go with carrier build, doesn't he?
Yep, I think he does. Right, in the mid-right position are red Terran, it's Mong, and then in the top middle are blue Protoss. It is Movie, so Movie had an interesting build versus Soulkey early on in the day. Not successful with it. Meanwhile, Mong played pretty decent versus Jaedong, but the Valkyries, very expensive, kind of stunted his transition into the mid and late game, so we'll see what he's got planned this time around for Movie.
Yeah, we can see the opening. We can see the spawning location. I feel this is somewhat good for Mong because you can see if Movie ever wants to take his third expansion, he has to expand towards the 10 o'clock and the 9 o'clock side, and that just seems like from natural to the third expansion at 10 o'clock side, it just seems really far away. And even the fourth expansion is really far. I mean, what if Mong just starts to rotate like half of his vulture, like 6 vultures on the bottom side, and then start harassing the fourth expansion? Then Movie is just gonna be getting all this delayed with the expanding timing.
Well, we'll see where he wants to expand, because yesterday Ruin expanded towards the Terran, and well, that didn't work out very well for him. So we'll see if Movie has learned from that and will expand to the 10 o'clock like you said. Now, Mong going for a gasless build. You don't see that build that often these days, but he's going to pull it out versus Movie, and luckily for him, he is going to get a first scout off.
Yeah, so this is going to be the Rex expand by Mong. I guess I heard Ruin. Remember I was telling you or explaining about how Ruin was prepared to play against Sock, and well, I'm not sure whether I said it, but yeah, Ruin was pretty much prepared to play against Rex expand, so that's why he has gone for the fast Nexus build into some type of like a rebuild build after that. But yeah, this is what I guess the game scenario is right now going on by Mong. So Mong has done the Rex expand, and Movie hasn't scouted yet. He's playing a very old style where you go for straight gun build, no zealot pressure, no scout whatsoever, no probe harassment. Oh, there's a okay, that's a 1 zealot into gun follow up.
Yeah, we see that the depot is coming down for Mog from Mong completing that Sim City right there, and that is a Zealot type depot. It's even a Ling type depot where that is placed. Oh, what? He's going range.
No,
he's going the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to point out. The Zealot is going to the wrong direction. This is just very sad, I would say. This is very sad.
Well, it's sad for Protoss fans. As a Terran player, I'm loving it. I'm loving watching a Protoss not just blindly find me in the first position when he doesn't scout. Now, also something Movie has to keep in mind is that SCV is still alive. He can come in for a secondary scout. It can be used for something like, Proxy Second Factory, which sometimes happens. Proxy Starport too. But the Goon and Zealot are now going to sync up. I wonder if he's going to try and run by this bunker.
Yeah, I have literally no idea what exactly Movie is doing, because Movie taking out Sharp in a day 2 qualifier, and just by looking at how Movie is playing, I don't know how Sharp has lost to Movie.
You can tell all that simply from just the first 4 minutes of the game.
I mean, I just don't like the build order how Movie is doing. I mean, this playstyle right now Movie is doing is just 5 years old. Like no one really do this nowadays. Like you have seen Mini or Best, or even Bisu always. Oh yeah, we have seen Bisu game against Light. He has done the Gateway Scout into Gas Seal, and just keep doing the harassment and then Zealot aggression into Reaver follow-up. That was absolutely the brutal combo, cooking a meal. And look how Movie is doing. No pressure whatsoever with the 14 Zealot, the 14 supply, 1 Zealot production he has done. And now harassing with the gun range. It doesn't even hurting him at all.
Yeah, and that SCV, I think, even saw the robo timing, so he knows it's not like fast Citadel or something weird. It's not fast Stargate. Mong's, even though getting that intel, though, is going to go into the Academy, which I was kind of not liking, but the more I'm thinking about how far ahead Mong is right now, I think it's okay to get that Academy, because you don't want to get caught by, some weird, carrier switch or something completely off guard that you're not accounting for. Dragoons are harassing that bunker, though. First tank is going to be coming out momentarily, and I'm not sure if that was Siege or if that was a Vulture upgrade, but I guess we'll be finding out pretty soon.
Well, we can see Mong has gotten the double machine shop plus refinery, so I guess Mong is prepared for some type of a upgrade there, like that 2-1 build.
Yeah, I didn't see the armory in the main just yet. It is only 5 minutes 45 seconds though. Meanwhile, Movie putting down a pretty normal Nexus timing. He did go into Observer though, no Reaver, so he's not going to be able to put on pretty much any pressure. Third factory already coming down for Mong, so he may. Oh, that's not a third factory, that's an eBay. And yeah, he's got a lot of gas, but I don't see the armory anywhere.
Maybe this might be the 5 tank pressure with the 4 Marine, with the what's it called, the Vulture speed and the Spider Mine research. So that could be the 5 tank pressure, what he's exactly doing. Oh yeah, there's a double machine shop spinning, but I wonder whether he's making. Oh, there's an armory going up at the net. Okay, so he's playing super safe. That's interesting, and we just heard another skin go off at the net. Not seeing the second guess, but sees pylon wall and guns are standing. Wonder if that is going to be 5 tank or 3 tank. Oh, okay, 3 tank into Vulture.
Okay, so not going to be the 5 tank push. I was also expecting it to be the 5 tank push. I thought that was going to be another round of tanks and then rallied Vultures. I think that could have been a strong attack, and wow, at that move. He had really good sense that he could just instantly take a third base, and that's what he's done. I mean, there's absolutely no defense over there. And he just takes it on location. But meanwhile, Movie's third base is already up, and we already saw that those probes got transferred, so his econ is still pretty stellar right now.
Yeah, I guess Mong is definitely reading the game correctly here, because he scanned the main base that it's not shuttle. There's no support base, so he knows this is not going to be the Reaver follow or whatnot. And he's doing those Vulture, setting up some Spider Mines at each expansion at the bottom left side, so of course those are going to be very useful in the future. And now slowly making some missile threat forward. He scans on once again, sees the Stargate, and then a Templar Archive should be going up by now.
Yeah, and this was just a huge read from Mong because some players end up going into Reaver after the Observer, and if we look in his main, I don't see a single turret. So literally, if it had been Reaver and he just walked in, it would have been free kills onto those SCVs. But of course, we know that that's not the case. Somehow Mong knew that's not the case, and now he's got 3 base versus 3 base, and he is moving into the mid game in a fantastic position.
Mong is playing really well. I like it because he hasn't thrown his vulture away to kill some probe, and he has been safely taking that third expansion on location as well. And Movie, I don't know if Movie is just playing just straightforward.
Yeah.
The Arbiter build, and Mom is just feeling comfortable, like skipping all those missile turret at the main base. I mean, generally, if you're playing against Protoss, you end up seeing, well, what's it called, the turret ring all the time to defend the shuttle reaver play style, and he hasn't done any of them, and those money just spent on a 6 factory already.
Yeah, I like Movies. Well, Movies doing the build that when people ask me for my opinion on what to do as Protoss, like, this is it. Like, it's going to be an 11-minute Arbiter with a 12-minute Stasis and Max. Like, I think that's a pretty strong opener. Unfortunately, at pro level, not as strong, and I think Mong is easily going to defend this. So Movie's going to have something special with this attack because Mong's within 20 supply. He's got a lot of factories, like you said already, and more are just going to be coming in a second. And I really do think he's probably going to be almost maxed out when Movie attacks, and we know how that goes for Protoss players. Generally, max versus max with just a single stasis, not going to be successful. But Movie does have big econ behind it. He's taking a 4th base at bottom left.
Wow, already on 8 factories. 2 on upgrade probably started by now for Mong, and yeah, he just keeps scanning to figure out. Yeah, he sees those probe transfer to the bottom left, so he's sending a couple of vultures. Will he be able to snipe some probe? Not sure about it. Guns are standing, pylon wall.
Carrier switch coming in from Movie, and this is something we see more and more often these days, where it's Arbiter into carriers, comboing the powerful Arbiter unit with the carriers. It's so hard to deal with. Like, even if you switch into Wraith and go Cloak and catch them off guard, a single stasis can ruin your day. Now, this is a cute move from Mong, elevatoring in not just 2 tanks, but 8 vultures, and there's a complete pylon wall. So these goons cannot get in and save it. And even though vultures don't deal a lot of damage to, the health, they can knock down shields in an instant.
Well, I think this amount of army can take down the Nexus immediately if he focuses down. That the photon cannon will be taken down. Vulture will be sniping some probe. Nicely done. Photon cannon will be taken down, but I guess some of the vultures has taken down by the Zala bomb earlier, so I don't think he will be able to take down the Nexus. But this harassment has done such a great job, like eating up some Zealot, maybe pick up some gun, maybe 1 or 2 gun. Another round of the vulture.
Yeah, that was better defense than I was anticipating. Now, this might be an overstep from Mong. This is a lot of goons. However, there's no reaction from Movie at all, and it's a complete surround by the mines. All of them explode.
What is he doing?
All of the goons, and that is a huge loss for Movie. The tank's still alive. How'd that happen?
The tanks are still alive. I'm not sure what exactly. I guess Movie was just dreaming about taking the center expansion and go for the carrier. Oh, okay, now I just have a thought, like, okay, if you wanted to take that 7 up, okay, for Stargate, is he playing fastest?
It was an Arbiter fake, like he, I guess, got scanned, showed the Arbiter.
No, I think there's a 1 Arbiter at the 12 o'clock side, 12 o'clock, the blue dot.
Okay, I see that now. That's Zealot. He is a rebel blocking the
rebel. My. I think Sharp will cry if he's right now watching, like, because he lost the movie 2-0. Sharp lost the movie 2-0. He is gonna be very sad if he watched this game.
Well, this Nexus is gonna fall bottom left. I'm not even sure if there's vultures alive, but I see red dots over there. Arbiter, I think, is, as you stated, that dot at the top middle, and we see the cursor moving up there. The Arbiter should have energy now, and if it doesn't, it's like within 15 seconds or so. So recall could be coming in, and the carrier switch with 4 Stargate could ramp up very quickly. You can see Mong realizes the circumstance, and he's scrambling to get vultures and mines set up, but there aren't any, and this is a completely exposed base.
Well, that is definitely a lot of Zala has recalled. I'm not sure how much of a gun he has, but this will do lots of damage.
Yeah, at bet or at worst, it just buys movie time to get up his carrier count. So this is going to be a successful recall no matter what. Supplies are pretty much even. Protoss army is going to get wiped out. This is amazing harassment with the drops. He's finding another opening at mid left. He's keeping Movie's econ in check, still on 3 bases, but Mong is expanding up to 4 bases, and Movie is now starting to retake bottom left.
Those tanks are clearing those Zalas and Gun really nicely done. Mong didn't get the supply block. That's a good news for him because he knows this is a carrier. I think he should definitely know this is a carrier switch. So I think he needs to add those mass depot somewhere and start moving out before those carrier number gets higher. Oh, only 4 interceptors? Did he forget to upgrade the bonus? Okay, now he's getting 5 interceptors.
Well, seeing those Stargates blink is giving me a heart attack because it's only 4 carriers right now, but it's going to be 8 in a second, and there's still another Arbiter, and again, Mong on... Oh my gosh, he barely sees the Arbiter with that scan.
Yeah, one time it will work, but second time not gonna work. So he's keeping his eyes on the top right side consistently, having that vulture vision. Lots of depot has been built. Still no action. I guess he's gonna go for a hit.
I'm still not sure if he knows that it's carriers. Well, now they've been shown in the middle of the map because I haven't seen like a single Goliath. Well, maybe I saw 2 Goliaths in the main and that's it. But I don't know what he's actually been building and what's at his rally point. Yeah, there's a single Goliath. That's it, just 2. And that's a ton of tanks. And from what I know about Broodwar, tanks don't help you versus carriers. So these tanks might just be gone from this world in a couple seconds, scrambling to get turrets up, but those aren't the greatest.
Wow, those carriers are gonna start doing some job here. Carrier micro, some Zala aggression at the bottom middle. I guess Protoss is kind of stalled with the 4 base mining, so I guess this carrier switch somehow gonna be working out so well. And Movie, it just has so much of a carrier, and this is the dream. This is the dream when you start having lots of carrier. You can just start abusing the terrain. That depot, that building will be blocking the path, but one of the carrier will fall. That's a mistake.
That's a big mistake. He still has 5 carriers, but really 6 is, like, my opinion, where it starts getting really, really hectic. 5 is still fine, but he's picked off so many tanks at this point. And what makes this even worse with it being Monopoly is you can go into the main, snipe a factory, and then just leave. And also that depot wall doesn't help Mong get units out into the center of the map. But this time, just 4 Goliaths are somehow going to pick off a carrier.
Ooh.
Oh, he barely gets it.
Well, that's good news for him. And I like how Mong, while he's doing the Goliath micro, I like how Mong decided to send 3 groups of Vulture and Tank on the left side and go for the attack move. And now Movie needs to...
What is he doing?
Wow. Yeah, Movie... This is not the Movie I know. The Movie I know, he always pay attention on his micro, but he's not paying attention today.
Yeah, I agree. Usually Movie's over microing his units, but he's losing the most important units he has. It's the carriers. That one's almost dead too. And Movie's ground army is almost non-existent. This tank attack is going to wipe the 3rd base. And again, it's the 17-minute mark where Protoss players, well, generally Terran and Protoss players start mining out their main and natural. So if the third base goes down, all of a sudden, Movie's not going to be mining anymore, but Mong still has his fourth base.
Yeah, this is... yeah, Mong is really fast. I find Mong is really fast. Like, he's literally everywhere. Remember we saw him like attacking the bottom left at the 7 o'clock, and he also using the dropship to attack the 12 o'clock, not the 12 o'clock, the center of the map. And while he's getting harassed by the carrier, it's very hard to make a decision to send your 3 groups of your tank and vulture to the other side and then start taking down the expansion. Like he took down 2 expansions.
Yeah, and one of the differences between good players and great players and amazing players is how fast they siege and unsiege bases. Like, there's so many times I watch players like Barracks, for example. He like instantly, like a base is gone and then he instantly unsieges and kills another base. And Mong's doing exactly the same thing here, knocking down Movie into the Stone Age. Movie, I don't even know if he has econ. Okay, I do see he still is mining his natural, but he is down in the dumps now. He's down 40 supply. Luckily for him, I guess he still has 7 carriers, but Terran at 3-2 with a ton of Goliaths now, and he's gonna intercept the carriers again.
Oh my god, the missile turret actually taking down okay, is he gonna go for the recall? But I'm not. Oh, he's going deeply.
Recall, man. He explodes, or okay, I think that's about as well as the recall is going to go. But this is the entirety of the Protoss army. I don't even know if he has any other supply at his natural, but he's on top of the production. But you can see he's just fizzling out. I hear just Zealots nonstop dying over and over. He has nothing. He has almost no interceptors.
Yeah, I think I think he accidentally pulled his interceptors back into his carrier. And I heard interceptors can actually heal. If you are not attacking with your carrier, your interceptors, whoever has like the lower than 50% of the HP, they will go back to the main unit, like the inside of the carrier, and start healing off. I did not know interceptors can actually what's it called, HP regenerate. So yeah, he made a mistake there.
Yeah, and Mong, he's going to take that game, but it was close. Movie had a chance to win there, but unfortunately, the carrier, the carrier switch was great. The problem was he just bled off a little bit too many, and Mong, I think he's going to be feeling very lucky to get away with that game, but that's going to put him into the deciders match, and now he's going to have a TVZ for his life versus Soulkey. Yeah, and what you said about the interceptors, I also didn't know that.
Yes, so interceptors, they don't get splash damage by Valkyrie, they don't get splashed by Corsair, and if interceptors are lower than 50% HP, and then if your carriers are not on attack command, the interceptors will go back into your carrier and start regenerate the HP back to full HP. Not the shield, I'm talking about the actual HP.
Yeah, it does regen the shields too, though. I made a video on YouTube. You can check out on my YouTube channel if you want about why carriers are op, specifically the interceptors. But the Mong vs. Soulkey matchup will be coming up in a couple minutes, and this will decide who's going to be our last finalist into the round of 16. Round of 24, final match coming up. It's Mong versus Soulkey. Let's see what the bans are. Again, the Zergs are banning Revolver here, man. And that's going to give us Vermeer. And I'm happy about this because this is going to be the first time we get to see a TVZ on this map.
Was it really? But, okay. I'm interested to hear that Soulkey banning Revolver. Because, I mean, maybe Terran player has figured out how to play on Revolver? That could be the reason Zerg players did not want to play on Revolver, because last season Terran did not want to play against Zerg on Revolver because always putting that third hatchery on a different location and then just sunkening up, like 4 sunken, 5 sunken, like how Soma was doing, and it's almost impossible to break. Even if you're doing +1 attack 5 racks, not gonna work. 2 racks academy, not gonna work. Okay, tank pressure, not gonna work because you're on a low ground, and Zerg just immediately get the hive tech really fast and go for the Guardian like that, how Soma was doing. But I guess they somehow found out a way.
Well, I'm curious what the answer is, because that's also my experience playing Terran versus Zerg on that map. Is they get the 3rd base and then they get the 4th base for free, and I'm stuck there thinking to myself, well, what do I do versus this? Do I try and mech switch it? Do I try and go for the long game? But their econ is already up and running at that point, and it just feels so hard to bust. But we're finally going to get to see a TVZ on Vermeer. I have seen no games of Terran versus Zerg on this map, so this is going to be interesting for me. Hopefully it's going to be exciting. Hopefully Mong can control his Valkyries a little bit better if he ends up going for an opener like that, because he's going to need to use that money for something more important like the mech switch versus somebody like Soulkey.
범위에서 게임을 시작합니다.
Right in the top right, our Terran player, it is Mong. And in the bottom right, looking to send a 7th representative for the Zerg race into this round of 16, it is Soulkey. As I stated, I have seen no Terran versus Zerg on this particular map. What are some intricacies for TVZ on Vermeer?
Vermeer, I think it's just pretty much like you have to play pretty much safe and standard, like how a lot of Zerg players and Terran players are playing on a polyport. So something similar, I would say. And there's something that we have to know. If you ever play on a 4-player map that is the map is like designed into like a counterclockwise or a clockwise map design, you're always gonna have some trouble of yeah, we see the A-Rex opening, but yeah, trouble of putting down the missile turret. Like for example, let's say you spawn at the 11 o'clock side polyport or 5 o'clock polyport. Yes, you have the advantage of having the wall, but the missile turret, like defending the Mutalist harassment, is so darn hard. But thing they have decided to fix about the map would be changing the Vespene Geyser location and the mineral patches line, like help Terran players to defend the Mutalist harassment easier, like how Eclipse was made. So that's a good thing for Mong, but not sure for Zerg though.
It's funny you mentioned the missile turrets, because I was just about to ask you that. If you listen to Artosis' stream, it seems like there's no map that is made to defend me just at the natural. So sounds like that's a little bit of good news for Vermeer if it ever gets into the map pool, that maybe turrets will be a little bit better than defending versus Mutalists like on something like Good Night. Now we do see Mom going for an 8 racks opener, and this is an interesting wall placement because the Marines pop out on the wrong side. So if there was something like a Ling Flood or something, you're not going to be able to get the Marines back to safety that easily.
Well, I like Mong's build. People were debating whether Terran should be able to get the wall, like the complete wall at the net or whatnot, and they decided not to. And Mong figured out on a different way, setting up 2 depot wall.
Well, here comes the drone pull. It is 8 drones actually. He's really making sure that this gets shut down. And the marine control is great, knocks down a drone already, but that one gets caught. Really nicely done by Mong. That one drone is super low though, but Soulkey branched it off. Very nicely done. However, a third drone falls, and that's a fourth drone. If he gets that drone, this game might already be over, but luckily he saves that one. Now the bunker is not going to complete, I don't think. He's at least going to, deny this 8 racks, but that was a lot of damage done.
I dislike about Soulkey's gas timing or gas placement. If you ever put your gas on the right side or bottom side, you actually need 4 workers. But if you are mining the gas on the top or left, you need 3. Yes, you may think, yeah, they are about the same distance, so you may think 3 workers is totally fine. But actually, you can see whenever they are of 3 drones are on the Vesping geyser, you can see 1 drone will be popping out the bottom side and slowly mining it.
Well, Soulkey's actually in trouble because this is 4 Marines and the 2 Lings might just insta-die. Okay, they don't, and Mong needs to be careful to sync them up now. But 4 Marines moving out when Soulkey's droning. Oh, and he's supply blocked right now, Scan. He can't build anything.
Oh.
Luckily for him, Mong turns around. These 2 Lings are buying a lot of time for him. These 4 Marines could have done crippling damage.
Yeah, Mong is definitely doing great, and once again, after the 8 racks pressure, he's doing the +1 once again, adding the eBay. Good mining game of these 2 players. Soulkey didn't put down Creek Colony nor actually making more Zergling instead, so yeah, buying or gathering the information as much as possible with those 2 Zergling. Okay, accidentally losing 1 Zergling. But still, doing such a great job, and you can see that natural gas. You can see the drone spawning at the bottom, not to the left side. So that's why I wanted to point out that if you're mining the gas on the right, you need 4 workers, and that's why I wanted to point out Soulkey's gas is not a good place to start with the natural here.
Well, that's a bit of a mistake to let the Ling get in and see exactly what's going on. It looks very similar to the game we saw earlier. That Ling might actually get a kill. Nope, actually gets taken down in the nick of time. But the Sunken is not morphed, and that's a drone cycle again. Soulkey trying to play with as greedy of a build as he possibly can.
Wow.
The Marines are going to knock down 3 Lings. Also, he may even take out the Sunken. He can... Okay, that's an overstep. That is big time overstep.
Well, Mong is definitely confident, and something I would like to say for Soulkey, for the Soulkey side, Zerg fan out there. Whenever you see the eBay first like this with your Zergling, or somehow you figured it out, then you always want to put your 4th hatchery, like the 3rd gas, before the Mutilus, before the Mutilus production. So that's what Soulkey really needs to do. But we see him losing lots of mining time earlier by the marine pressure and adding some more Zergling. He's on low money.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the money to put down that 4th hatch like you're talking about. He's also supply blocked. Mong going into another 4 racks build. I thought it could be 5 racks this time around, but not going to be the case. Spire should be completing pretty soon, so we're going to be seeing those Mutilus come out. Oh, actually, Spire's probably about 20 seconds away now. We can see that the Overlords are completing, so freeing up some supply, and there is the factory.
If I were Mong, I would have gone for 5 racks because, like I stated earlier, if Zerg knows you are going +1 attack really fast, you want to get the 4th hatchery before the Mutilus production. And in order to stop that 3 gas, you want to have lots of Marine. And of course, Zerg wants to safely take that 3rd gas as well. So, but I guess Mong, maybe he has a different playstyle here. He wants to go for super fast factory.
I have a feeling we might see that tank Valkyrie push again. Factory's going to be completing in just a second. Bunker and turrets being spammed everywhere. Soulkey's first few Mutilus are out on the map. And Mong has some intel on the bottom left side of the map. He knows that there's at least no 3rd base in the main just yet. Here come those Mutilus though.
Yeah, that's not the magic number of one-shot the SCV, but okay, yeah, he does have 7 Mutilus, taking down 1 missile turret.
One dangerously low, but it does force.
Does he not have range upgrade?
He should have range upgrade. It's 750 into the game. I imagine he has to have it by now. But this does keep Terran back in their main, and that gives Soulkey time to get up his third base. But I'm noticing now that the hatchery still hasn't started yet.
Yeah, Soulkey is. Yeah, Soulkey has to do something about this. He has to hurt Mong's eco as much as possible. Or I mean, Starport is already done, and Soulkey doesn't have third expansion yet.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely hard for Soulkey to defend. Not only does he not have the third base, or he does have it just now starting. I didn't see Queen's Nest, I didn't see Hydra Den, and the factory is already done, so tanks are going to start coming out pretty soon. Add-on for the starport is going to complete, so that means science facility should be done pretty soon too. Mutalists do need to do something to keep Terran back.
Well, I don't see the red square box of the science facility. That's an eBay right next to his command center, so maybe there might be the armory somewhere at his main base.
Yeah, it could be bottom right of his mineral line, and we may be seeing Valkyries again, like he just said. Marines have moved across the map, and I mean, there's a lot of Mutalisks out and a decent amount of Lings, so this could have been an overstep from Mong. He definitely does not want to lose this army.
Oh, gotta be careful. If you lose 3 more Marine, I think this is gonna be the go time for Soulkey, because Soulkey has lots of Zergling. And here's something that you have to know as Terran player: whenever Zerg has 1.5 group of Muta, that's about like 18 Mutalisks and thousands of Zergling, he will be able to crush this army anytime soon.
Yep, and you can see Soulkey moving in position. He knows that this is an isolated army, and that's a nice round of Muta shot Sterlings coming in through the back, and this was a big loss of Marine Medic for Mong there. He was about to hit critical mass with his tanks, and unfortunately for him, that's going to reset his push. That was an armory at the bottom right of his mineral line, and now the first 2 Valkyries are out, but his Marine count just isn't high anymore.
Well, I think it's still okay because he didn't lose any Valkyrie. Once he starts to have 3 Valkyrie, he'll be able to go for the timing attack once again. And he needs to make some medic. I mean, 2 medic is definitely not enough. Maybe he might need to mix some firebat, because there's lots of Zerglings are standing outside of the map. He knows, he should be realizing when Zerg is making 3 groups of Zergling like that, of course Zerg cannot make the Hydra list or into lurker switch that fast. So yeah, he scans the natural. No lurker act whatsoever yet.
Yep, and now Mong.
Yeah, there's the firebat.
Yep, he's going to move out. He built the firebats just like he said. He built 4 medics too. So now his army looks quite devastating. However, Soulkey is pretty close in supply. It's 90 to 80. But Mutaling versus Valkyrie Firebat, that's not what you want. However, the Firebats, well, one of them got taken out instantly, but nice control there from Mong to not bleed off any of the rest of his army. And there is the 3 Valkyries, like you were saying. And these 3 Valkyries might get picked off by these Scourge. They're coming from Soulkey right now. Oh my gosh, you can't lose them, Mong. He loses 1, he's gonna lose 2.
Yeah, I just saw Mong's player's cam that his eyebrows just went up. Oh, I lost the Valkyrie. Yeah,
It looks exactly like when I play Valkyrie. You like look away for a second, and all of a sudden they're just gone. But still, Mong has these tanks. Oh, he's sieged in the middle of the map, and that means goodbye one of the tanks.
Yeah, he seems really, really desperate. Oh, he's once again switching over to the Vulture production. Well, this reminds me of like Sock versus Soma here a little, with a different opening.
Well, this was a good burrow from Soulkey to reposition them a little bit farther away, but not allow the tanks to come up or the Marines to get into behind the hatchery. And behind this, Soulkey took down another Marine army, and he sees the 3rd command center going down, so he's going to deny that. And all of a sudden, Mong, who had a great opener, he doesn't cancel it, and that's a huge loss, and he's going to lose his Valkyrie again.
Yeah, his eyebrows just went up once again. I mean, he's just making lots of mistakes here. While he's trying to get his army on in position. And now Lurker slowly moving forward and gonna be using some forward Darkstorm.
Yeah, but Darkstorm, alright, yeah, the Darkstorm's already done, so this tank push, it can't work. I mean, it can't work in general because there's only 3 Marines supporting the tank. But Mong needs to start expanding. At least he has 3 factories already done. At least he's ramping into his production a little bit faster. He's double expanding just now, though. But Zerg has got his own 4th base coming up. Luckily, the Vultures are going to give him a bit of map control, but this might be another denied command center.
Yeah, those 4 Mutilas is going to be definitely annoying. Okay, there's a 1 Science Vessel is out on the map. That's good to know. I'm checking out both of the players' upgrade. Still no +1 armor and +1 mech upgrade yet. Oh my god, that Zergling is still buying some time. So annoying.
Yeah, just, oh my, he bleeds off the tanks. Maybe one of them will fall. This is extremely painful to watch as a Terran player. However, he does.
Well, that's a good news.
Yeah, he got rid of the Mutas, so at least he trades 1 tank for 4 Mutas.
Well, that Zergling will be trading off that Seas tank.
Yeah, so pretty much back and forth trades for both players. Another macro hatch coming down for Soulkey, and I think, no, that's Anitas. So he's at something like 6 hatcheries right now. 4 base available for Soulkey, and the barracks are still landed in Mong's main, so he doesn't have as many factories as he really wants. Also, I see that the armory's in the place where a lot of factories end up being built.
I just noticed. Maybe Soulkey forgot about that armor upgrade for the whole time. I mean, Vulture +1 is already done, and Zergling does not have the +1 armor yet.
Oh, that would be a big mistake if he missed that. I didn't even realize. Okay, now +1 kicked in. So if it did just kick in right now, we're looking at 18-minute +2, which is still okay, because generally with tank or with 2-1 pushes, they come at around 17, 18 minutes in a mech switch. But Mong, now he's stabilized. He's up to 4 bases. We've got the Raxes floating off right now, so he's going to be ramping up that production. He still has a 30 supply lead, so I'm still liking his position so far.
I like Mong's strategy because well, we are thinking we got this Vulture. Vulture over committing. Yeah, so Mong is one of the player who's really good at late mech. And I'm excited to see him doing late mech switches over here in this ASL round of 24, because all the other Terran players, like, they're saying, yeah, it's so hard to beat against Zerg. Yeah, I mean, SK Terran, we cannot beat it. Zerg just beat us with Hydra Lurker, Defiler, or maybe Ultraless Ling like this. And now Mong is bringing another, like, a solution to this Zerg matchup. Like, yeah, if you cannot beat the Zerg with SK Terran or tank pressure, then you go this.
Yeah, I am excited to see Mech make a comeback, because like you said, when I play ladder, if I play a game versus an evenly ranked Zerg or a better Zerg, I flat out just can't win with Marine Medic. Like, I'm not Rush. I can't attack 8 positions at the same time, and I can't build BCs at the same time. Like, it just doesn't happen. And the only games that I actually win are the games that I mech switch. So to see Mong pulling it out here, I'm still curious to see how he's going to counter the Queens, because they're inevitably going to come. But he's looking pretty solid right now.
Well, I think Mong needs to kill some of the missile turret, because they're blocking the path to add more of a machine shop, because he's gonna have the 4 gas axis of making a lot of tank. And okay, that's an overlord. Does he already have the drop upgrade?
Looks like he could, maybe. Yeah, the fact that he's continuing to go, it's probably like a Lurker Defiler drop.
Oh.
Yep, there's the Lurker. Now, is there a Defiler in here?
But that's a good news for Mong.
Yep, that was a nice interception there. Even a small drop like this can be super annoying once Darkstorm gets put down, so nice catch there. Meanwhile, Ling counterattack to the top middle. Gonna try and shut down the 4th base, but already 5 tanks set up there, so you're not going to break that. Now there's almost a 60 supply lead for Mong.
I like Mong's position. I mean, he made lots of mistakes in the mid stage, losing those 3 Valkyrie, throwing away his Valkyrie like that, losing his tank like that. I mean, he's somehow keeping up the game and still has a supply lead here too, and yeah, Soulkey's still behind on an upgrade.
Yeah, +2 weapons going to be kicking in for Terran any moment now. +2 armor should be kicking in for Zerg too momentarily. Vultures pick off 2 lurkers. That's a nice find there, and they've already used up all their mines, so don't really need those vultures anymore. Behind this, Mong taking a 5th base, but it is super close to the Zerg base. I don't know how easily this will be to defend, but he's also taking top left, it looks like, so it's going to be 6 base Terran soon.
I just saw 2,000 gas just now disappeared. I think Soulkey is making something. Soulkey had 100 supply and now all of a sudden 145. So I wonder what that is going to be, whether that is going to be Mass Queen or Mass Ultralist whatsoever. I don't think he got the Ultralist then, but... Oh, not Ultralist then. Ultralist Cavern. Oh yeah, there's an Ultralist Cavern.
Yeah, so more than likely it's going to be the Ultra Switch. But Mong's done a good job to keep his tank count up. And he's got nice, solid positioning everywhere. He's even going to take out that Defiler before it can do anything.
Oh wow,
he has Burrow. And that means it can't die.
Yeah, the Defiler doesn't die.
Well, now this is what I hate. Okay, luckily that lurker falls here. Here comes a small ultra attack, but Darkstorm gets comboed with the attack, and he's going to knock down these tanks. And with the Darkstorm on the 5th base too, he may end up breaching this one, but reinforcements from Mong coming in. However, Soulkey somehow has closed the gap in supply. It's 160 to 160. Oh no.
That's a lot of Ultralists all of a sudden.
Well, that's a lot of dead Ultralists, but 2 of them might get into the 5th base. Ling's also in there, and he is going to breach it and shut this one down. Soulkey making it wild. This is why Zerg is so hard to deal with. They can be everywhere, all over the map, and they can have so much unit production in an instant. Lurker, can it get some kills? Answer is maybe a couple.
Yeah, that's a lot of trade has both of the players has done. Mass Ultralist died. Zerglings getting exploded. Oh, I guess they must have the plus to attack and now clearing the... It's so strong, like those cheap Zerglings can clear the spider mines without the detector. I find that so imba.
What I find imba is what I was about to say about Darkstorm, and it's when you have vision of a burrowed unit, it's like your tanks continue to shoot the burrowed unit even though they can't hurt it. So then when reinforcements come in, they don't target like Ling's flooding in. They just keep shooting that burrowed Defiler over and over, and it just never dies. I hate that about Darkstorm. That's the one thing I would probably change, is like change the tank AI to actually shoot stuff it can actually kill. Oh man, it pisses me off so much. But here comes another round of attack from Soulkey.
That's definitely true, and we see Mong is really being busy with his vulture. I mean, I like how Mong is keep using his vulture, but not liking about throwing away vultures like that. I mean, he needs to save those vultures and put some spider mines. Maybe those vultures have to use all those spider mines. Maybe he needs to pick some drone off. If he doesn't pick drones off, Soulkey is just gonna be expanding, and then take those 5th gas, 6th gas, 7th gas, and then 8th gas at the 9 o'clock. Now he's taking 8th base.
Yeah, this is about to be 8 base Zerg, and something I noticed was top left got denied by Soulkey, so 6 base Terran, that's not happening right now, and 5 tanks die, vultures are gonna die, the Ultralists are still alive, I'm sure they're gonna get eaten up by these mines coming in, but 4th base is about to be breached, and all of a sudden, this is what happens in TVZ these days, is if you are overextended, one of your bases or multiple bases can fall. For now, top middle is going to survive, but something like 10 hat production, Soulkey's going to come in for round 2 in just a second.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. Mong is still stabilizing the 5th base, but he's still down on the supply lead. And he needs to convert those Vespene gas for something else, but these Ultralist Zerglings are just pretty much everywhere, and he's just struggling. He needs more mineral.
And here comes that secondary attack that I was talking about. I mean, Mong has done a fantastic job. I cannot even emphasize how good of a job he's done with the mines, but it just isn't enough. It doesn't matter. There's just a handful of Lings get in. I'm sure all of these tanks are going to die.
Well, we don't have to doubt about that. Soulkey having 6 gas and just having another Ultraless flood. Look at that, another 6 Ultraless and even Defiler, 5 Defiler. Just disgusting.
He's loading up for a drop, and he knows that the 5th base is, right next to him. I'm surprised he actually didn't even go for a drop there. But it looks like he's going to drop top middle this time around and try and probably attack mid right at the same time.
Wow, that's a really nice spider mine. Dodging the spider mine with the 1 Zergling.
But Mong is doing a good job to keep up in supply. It's 180 to 180. That is a lot of Defilers for Soulkey. For some reason, Soulkey's army looks kind of tiny right now. I'm trying to figure out where all the supply is of Mong also.
Yeah, I'm looking at Mong's SCV count and like how he saturated each expansion. Mong has still mineral at the natural. He hasn't done mining. He's not done mining the natural. He's somehow mining with the 1 or 2 SCV. Yeah, these Ultras finally has the +1 armor, but +3 was already done for Mong for the whole time. So yeah, Mong is defending it really, really well, and Soulkey, I feel like Soulkey might gonna make a mistake here because he's not using queens.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still waiting for the queen switch, and it just hasn't come to fruition just yet. I mean, Soulkey has the resources. Like, let's not get anything wrong here. He's on 8 bases. Like, he can afford to go for queens. Maybe he feels like the 2-minute window where he doesn't have the energy gives Mong enough time to go for a killing blow. I'm not sure exactly why he keeps pumping out ultras. He's been having success with the ultras until recently, but Mong's about to approach max on a almost, well, it's not pure tank, but it's a lot of tanks.
Well, I guess there's a solution to beat Ultraless, make tank. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of siege tanks just depending on the left side and the right side at the same time. Yeah, Mong needs to expand. Mong needs to expand. He's gonna be start to starve.
Yeah, he does need to get top left. We've got a Muta switch. I don't know about this. You can see that the Mutas at least have 1/1 upgrades, but Terran already has +2 armor, and tanks and Goliath both start with 1 armor. So those Mutas aren't going to be dealing that much damage at all. But Soulkey, maybe he's going to go into Muta Flood. For now, he doesn't have the supply for it.
Well, he sees there are 4 vessels out on the map. I mean, what's the point of making Mutas whenever he sees 4 vessels already out on the map? Well, that's a nice Zergling bomb.
Yeah, that was an amazing Zergling bomb, taking out 3 or 4 tanks. Another Vulture attack, though, the drone line. And Mong just has mines always set up at these bases. This is exactly what you should be doing as Terran. Now, Soulkey's starting to float a little bit of money. He has like 20 supply available. Hopefully, this is the time where he's building some queens.
I like Mong. I like Mong because in East there's some type of like a maybe education difference of a Western and an Eastern. Like in Eastern like Asia, if you're not good at something, coaches or players will just forget about it and just try to boost up your strength of your, like, if you're good at mech, yeah, okay, forget about your bio, just keep practicing your mech against Zerg. And we can see Mong was not doing really well with his bio, but we can see how his late game potential with his mech, and we already saw on a losers match against the movie, his mech play was absolutely excellent. So yeah, there in the Western education, I know if you're weak at something, oh yeah, you gotta be working on it so you can make it even out with your other something that you're good at. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I think people do that in general, so they have options where people can't just like blind counter you, right? Like, be able to actually go for bio if you're a mech switch guy. But yeah, this play from Mong is excellent, and it's not often you see a 5-base Terran bringing it to an 8-base Zerg, but Zerg is going to breach mid-right, but there's still like 5-base mining for Zerg right now. Good plague right there, blankets the vessels. Now Soulkey needs to use those Mutilas to wipe those out. Oh, I just realized Soulkey took top left.
Oh. Well, yeah, Mong is just gonna be giving up, taking that 3 o'clock expansion, and we'll go for the trade here. I think this is a good trade-off that right now Mong is doing. Like going for the attack at the 7 o'clock and the 9 o'clock. Oh, vessels will fall.
Yeah, all of the vessels fall, and now a Mutaswitch would be quite strong since there's only 7 Goliaths here. But that is just so much Zerg, dude. So many Ultras, so many Lings just built non-stop. This attack is going to get cleaned up. Dark Storm coming in, and that means that the majority of Mong's army is going to get cleaned up, because right up here is another blob of things that could easily be taken out.
Look, Mong is everywhere. Somehow he found out the 11 o'clock expansion and taken down really, really fast. And yeah, I think he still has decent amount of supply to fight back against Soulkey, and Soulkey just keep making Ultralists, and Ultralists are somehow managed to save that 9 o'clock expansion. But look, Mong is everywhere. Somehow he landed the command center once again at the 3 o'clock, expanding towards to Soulkey's expansion.
Yeah, he saved mid-right, but Soulkey saved bottom left at the same time. Still got that base, and it looks like he's already transferred drones there. Meanwhile, Mong did take out top left, like you said, and he's left all those tanks there to defend. And these vultures, again, are running by and killing so many drones.
And look at that. I really like those 7 tanks on the high ground where Mong has put down. That can actually defend his 3rd base. Oh, D-Matrix. Oh, I didn't know he had another 3 vessels. We already saw like 1 minute ago he lost 3 vessels, 4 vessels by Scourges, and he has another 3 vessels out already.
Yeah, I also didn't realize that. I guess sitting at his rally point or something, but here comes another attack into mid-right. It's not that large. Okay, now Ultra's coming in, and, well, they're going to clean up the tanks. And Soulkey is just trying to make it chaotic all over the map. So is Mong. Mong's going for another attack at mid-left. Looks like he's probably going to knock this down, but he may lose mid-right at the same time.
I think he has an open opportunity at the bottom left side, maybe picking up another drone with the vulture. I think those are the vultures. Yeah, he is. He is hurting Soulkey's eco. How much of a how many bases Soulkey's mining? Like the mineral line. So
looks like 4 maybe. All of the bottom side of the map. 4 mineral lines.
And this game is super intense. This is like one of the epic games that we already get to see in this round of 24. After Royal's game.
Yeah, this is absolutely one of the best mech switch games I've ever seen. This is something where you wish you could multitask like Mong in this game, to be able to be on the left side while also defending the right side, while also taking bases. This is absolutely immaculate play from Mong. And I have to say, Soulkey had success with the Ultras in the early stages, but now the Ultras are really not being successful here. He needs to go into Queens or more Lings or Hydras or something.
I think in the future, like because of this very good game that we get to see of this Terran vs Zerg matchup with the late mech switches, a lot of Terran players or a lot of like pro level Terran player like Light, Rush, even Royal probably gonna start thinking about mech switches in the future and start finding out a better solution with the optimization or how he should be actually transitioning into late mech. So yeah, Mong is actually showing his strength of his mech play instead of bio. I really love it. It gives us like another solution to how to beat Zerg. I mean, we cannot always wait for Flash to come back and show, please show us how to beat Zerg. We cannot wait until Flash to make coming back from the military service, right?
Yeah, well, I have no idea how mid-right is still up and running for Mong. Like, I have absolutely no idea. This base is so close to Zerg, and he's killing bases on the left side of the map while also defending the left side of the map. It's like mind-boggling that this base is still up for Mong, and he's still able to defend all of his bases. He's still even in supply. It's not like he's maxed out or anything, but he is putting on a clinic here on how to play mech versus Zerg. Looks like finally mid-right might be breached here, but reinforcing Vulture is going to come in. And again, these mines are just killing everything because Mong has done such a great job to consistently reinforce with them.
Wow, those... I mean, yeah, Ultras are tanking really, really well, but I think it's okay for Mong to give up this 3 o'clock expansion because he already mined like half of them already. Maybe like remaining 500 or 600 remaining of that mineral, so he doesn't really need to care about it because there's a brand new fresh expansion that you can take at the 11 o'clock expansion. It's already running. 11 o'clock main base is already running, so I think he can just give up that 3 o'clock expansion and just keep thinking about hurting Soulkey's economy, picking out more drones with the Vulture. That's a very good Vulture move at the bottom left. And yeah, both of the players are somehow out of money and slowly losing the tempo here, but it's just so, the game is so insane.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just give that base up, let Soulkey have it if he ends up taking it, and just focus on defending the left side, because Soulkey's had the left side of the map for so long that these bases are almost mined out, and meanwhile Mong pretty much just got them. So top left has 3 bases pretty much completely fresh. Mong can win the game by literally just starving out Zerg at this point and denying mid-left or taking mid-left himself. And that seems to be what he's going for. Somehow Mong's supply just shot down to 120 and Soulkey's up 25 supply. Not sure exactly how that happened, but he is now reconsolidating all his defense on the left side.
I am also thinking how much of a mech army still remaining, and it's so nice to see Mong is keeping up the silent vessels staying alive, because he needs those vessels to get those free unit off, like a Defiler or Overlord, or maybe even Ultralist, like lower down the HP as much as possible. And now, yeah, Mong needs money. Mong needs money. He's on 2 base mining. Command center is full loaded to the left side.
Well, this might be a game-ending drop because there's actually no defense in the main, and that is a heavily loaded up drop. It's like 7 overlords coming in. I think the majority of them have ultras. Just a single dark swarm would be amazing here. And Mong's moving his units away from his main, and that means that this drop could shut down the entire factory line. And somehow, despite all the damage that Mong has done, there's a 50 supply lead now for Soulkey.
Yeah, they are the drops incoming. Defiler, 3 Defiler, 4 Defiler unloaded, and Mong is still looking at the left side.
Well, there's a huge attack coming on that side of the map, and unfortunately for him, he has no defense in his main. There's Dark Swarm on top of his factories. Yeah, he's scrambling to get back. Luckily for him, he had some tanks at his rally point. He's only going to lose depots for now. I haven't seen a factory fall just yet. So this drop actually didn't do as much damage as I anticipated.
Yeah, those Defilers still doing some job.
That factory placement is kind of saving Mong there. Those ultras at the bottom side not able to get on top of some of the tanks. Those ultras, though, able to get on top of those 2 tanks. Goodbye tank, goodbye vultures. But Mong does save his main base for now.
If Mong gets about like another 2 minute, 3 minute like stalling the attack, then I think he may gonna have that the boost up the eco real quick, because he's just finally finished that command center at the 11 o'clock natural. So right now Mong is mining in a 3 base. He still has decent amount of siege tank, but will he be able to defend? There are Defilers started to make some Dark Swarm connecting and bridging to this ramp.
Oh, Dark Swarms are getting on top of all the tanks, and Mong, who has played immaculately all game long, may be having his top left main and natural be breached. Look at the kill count on those tanks, almost 30 in total. But there's just, well, I thought there was too much Soulkey, but there's more reinforcing tanks trying to save the day. Look at how low the mineral count is for both players, and both players have like 3 bases up and running. So this game is absolutely wild. Both players macroing insanely well.
Oh.
More tanks can get caught by these lings, though.
The Zergling flooded, they're pretty much everywhere. Oh, Mong is somehow defending it, but he needs to hurt those drone at the 3 o'clock drone and the 9 o'clock drone somehow.
He's running out of steam. The multitask of Soulkey is just a little bit too much for him. Another Dark Swarm attack coming into the third base at top left. But Soulkey is running out of money. That mid-right base is basically mined out. He has a fresh base at mid-left though. But now it's a 50 supply lead for Soulkey. More tanks and more vultures coming in.
Wow, that command center is getting repaired. He wants to save that command center desperately. Not
He borrowed links. He borrowed links. Look, look at those tanks shooting and not doing any damage. I hate that about Dark Swarm.
Yeah, he finally decided to lift up the command center, and now there's an Oboler. Sneaky Oboler will be loading up those 3 Zergling and an Ultralist, and gonna be dropping top of the Siege tank.
Oh my! And those tanks are still shooting the burrowed links, Scan. They did no damage in that fight because they were trying to hit an invincible unit.
Yeah, I think he forgot about paying attention up to the borrowed Zergling or something, and these Ultralists somehow needs to be clear. And I think he's not checking about the 3 o'clock expansion because he can see that a floated barracks or eBay can see that expansion running, but I guess the priority for him would be defending the 11 o'clock first. That's a lot of vultures just not all of a sudden came. But look, Mong's Vespin gas is not going up anymore.
Yeah, any more tanks? He can't really build anything at all because he's not really mining that efficiently. Somehow he defends this attack, which looked like endless amounts of Zerglings, but still 2 Ultralists get on top of the tanks on the high ground, and these tanks are going to get wiped out.
Yeah, that was... This game is insane, like no word to describe.
I mean, I'm getting like July Zerg Ride of Valkyries feelings on this because like the endless stream of units from Soulkey is absolutely absurd. Mong played his heart out. It's probably the best game I've ever seen Mong play, but it's still not enough to take down the monster that is Soulkey.
Yeah, that was a very insane game of the 2 players showing the 40-minute long of ZVT already in this round of 24. I mean, that game could have been in the final game.
Yeah, and that use of burrowing of the Defiler and the Ling under Dark Swarm, I have to say, I've never seen anybody ever do that. It's always the Lurker that gets targeted endlessly, obviously, because you have to burrow it. I've never seen someone knowingly just burrow Defiler or Ling under Dark Swarm. And you can see the result there. 4 tanks shelling out endlessly and doing absolutely no damage. And that's a heartbreaker for Mong. But Soulkey, that guy lost like 100 drones and stayed stabilized the entire time. Just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was definitely insane. And I feel like Mong was the victim of losing this game, and probably the better Terran player like Rush, Light, Royal, or even JYJ would be showing late game mech transition in the future. I'm excited to see how they're going to be doing, but we're going to be moving into the ASL interview. ASL Season 13 Round of 24 Group F. The last player who will be advancing into round of 16, that will be Soulkey. Congratulations.
감사합니다.
와, 정말 숨쉬기도 어려울 정도로 처절하고
So
정말 치열했던 마지막
the decider match
경기였습니다.
was definitely
마지막 고비 끝에
intense,
결국에 승리를
and
거두고 다시 한번 16강의
we
무대를
just cannot breathe. We cannot breathe while watching the game because the game was just too intense. And how do you feel?
좀 많이 받고
And
있어요,
Soulkey
지금.
is saying he thought that he was dying.
이 게임 졌다 이 생각으로
Soulkey was saying in the beginning of the game.
마지막까지 사실 승리 장담을 못
knew
했었거든요. 마지막에 이제 지지 받아내고
the
나서
game
안심을 한
the game flow the flow wasn't actually on his favor, so he was kind of low on a low eco playstyle in the beginning, and somehow he managed to keep up the late game. So since you were started to make some comeback in the mid game after killing some units and Defiler switches, I thought, or we thought, you will be ending the game very soon, but Mong defensive line was insane. And how do you feel about this late game potential of this game?
그냥 바이오닉을 계속
or late game
좀
flow. And Soulkey is saying
것 같아요, 게임 자체.
since
김찬희 선수가
he
레이스 메카닉을 선택하고 결국에 자원줄 싸움으로
since
계속해서
even if he has
긴
taken some
전투가 이어졌는데
nice opportunity
11시의
to make some
자원줄
comeback in the
싸움이
mid game,
정말
he
중요했습니다.
still thought he was
그래서
on a
정글까지 다
disadvantage side,
동원하면서 정말
and he
처절하게
really
밀어내는
wanted
모습들이 있었는데
he
어떤
really
생각하십니까?
wanted Mong to
그게
play
거의
late
마지막이었고
max
이거
switches.
아니면 안 된다라는 생각으로 이거 막히면 나도 진다라는 생각으로 계속 퍼부었었는데
So Soulkey is
사람도 약간 자원이 좀
answering.
부족했는지 그게 뚫렸던 것 같아요. 그래서
He was also out of resource, and
결국
he just tried to keep
네.
attacking,
오늘 저희
constantly
입장에서는
attacking, and
오랜만에
somehow found
김민철
an
선수 특유의
open
저
gap,
운영을 좀볼수
small
있어서
small
굉장히
hole that he can
재밌었습니다.
actually attack.
16강에서 김민철
And he
선수의
kind of
경기를
felt
다시
like
볼수
Mong
있는
was
좀
out of
재미를 얻게
resource to
됐는데
keep up the pace.
16강의 조가 또
So it was kind
중요하잖아요.
of lucky for him.
상위 저그는 피하고 싶다라고 또 말씀을
So
하셨기
during the
때문에
interview before the game, you
아직도
said
그
you
생각은
want to
유효하신가요?
avoid
아무래도 이재동 선수에게
playing against
타격을
top
입어서
level Zerg.
아무래도 근데 이제 16강 가면 저그들이 저를 뽑을 것 같은데
So
준비를 좀 열심히 해봐야
do
될
you
것 같아요.
do you think do you think
저그 대 저그전에
you change your mind or
모습을
whatnot?
보여주고
And
있어가지고,
Soulkey is saying
이번 시즌
he's probably not going to be changing his thought
뽑을
about that
했으면
interview because,
뽑만
of course,
하면은
round of
정말
16,
자신 있는데
lots of Zerg players are waiting for him to choose
그래도
him.
고무적인
because
건
they know
삽시드
he's weak as
권현재
ZVZ.
선수와 또 동문이시더라고요.
네.
네, 좀 뭔가 이야기를 나눌 수 있을 것 같나요, 변현재 선수와?
글쎄요, 그거는 잘 모르겠고 뭐
So I guess there's
솔직히
a
A존
story
구조들은
between
때문에
Soulkey and
잘
Mini.
모르겠어요.
과연 김민철 선수가 또 16강에 어떤
I guess he
자리,
doesn't
어떤
want to
조에 위치하게
be-
될지 많은
or I guess he
분들이 흥미롭게
doesn't
지켜보실 것 같습니다.
want to talk
마지막으로
about it?
팬분들에게 한 말씀 해주시죠.
Any last word to your fan
오늘
or to the audience?
저 생각을 많이 했어가지고 정말 불안해하셨을 텐데 솔직히
So a lot of his fans
저도
probably
불안하긴 했었어요. 근데 나머지
worried about his
저는
ZVZ matchup.
무조건 올라간다라는 생각을 가지고 있었기 때문에
But without the
그것만 아니까
ZVZ,
걱정 안 하셔도 되고요.
you guys should not be worried about me getting eliminated because I am very strong at ZVT and ZVP. And thanks for the rooting. And also thank you for rooting
다음 16강 이제 잘해볼게요.
to his girlfriend.
네, 이번 시즌 역시
His girlfriend is
김민철
also rooting
선수의
for him.
행보 한번 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 진출 축하드립니다.
So thank you for the
감사합니다.
interview and congratulations
자,
once
이렇게 해서
again.
이번 시즌의 마지막 16강 진출자 김민철
So
선수와
that was the
함께했습니다.
last player who will be advancing into round of 16. We'll be moving into this round of 24 group F. Today's result. I guess Nyoken is a little not here yet.
Oh, whoops, accidentally muted. Yeah, I was saying Soulkey taking down Movie, then Jaedong taking down Mong, then Jaedong taking down Soulkey. We saw Mong take down Movie, and then Mong get eliminated by Soulkey, and that gives us 7 Zerg players, 4 Terran players, and 5 Protoss players. So balance is still decent. I'm a bit sad that Mong didn't make it in, because that would have given us 5, 5, and 6. But overall, I would say almost all of the superstars made it in. I guess the lone wolf that didn't make it in was just Snow. So I think we pretty much got the best of the best 16 that we could have gotten.
Yeah, if I'm just looking at those players, the players' race distribution, pretty darn solid. They're just qualified. Like they can be in round of 16 whenever they want. So that was very strong to watch, and it was somewhat odd to see how strong Gemo was.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think a lot of people don't expect Gamo to make it to round of 16, but he's a really good player. I
Right.
think what mostly people think of when they think of Gamo is they think of that Heartbreak Ridge moment where he ran into the mines and lost all of his Hydralisks. So it is nice to see that he does make it into the round of 16. I was looking at his ASL stats yesterday, and this is either like the first or second time he made it into the round of 16.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how well Gemo is gonna be performing in round of 16 in next week or two, and I guess we're not gonna be moving to a different screen yet. So today's game was exciting. It was a very cool game to see how we got another solution to beat Zerg.
Yes. So are you going to be trying that out
Yeah.
tomorrow when you stream?
Even though Mong lost the game, but I like the game flow and the understanding of the game. Like you don't have to do SK Terran all the time, or maybe vessel into making mass tank. You can do the late mech switches, so I like it.
Yeah, a lot of people were thinking that, well, mech switch might just be a thing of the past because Zerg players got too good, but apparently not the case. I will have to say that the thing that I was most worried about for Mong was that mech switching in the past, it felt like you had to get another main, otherwise you're dead, and like with your 4th command center. And I say that because like if Zerg gets like even just a couple lurkers up there in Defiler, they just perma Darkstorm it forever. And whether you eventually get it or not, like Zerg kind of just denies it for so long. It feels super punishing. So to see Mong not take it for a long time gives me hope that mech switching might make a resurgence and you don't necessarily have to get another main. But yeah, Mong played absolutely bonkers in the final game. Sad to see him knocked out. But Soulkey, that macro, just absurd. Oh, I wanted to ask you one thing about Soulkey. Everybody knows that he goes by Need Money, but on YouTube, his ID is ByukTube. What exactly is Byuk?
Byuk is a word in Korean. It means wall if you translate it. And in the past, in the Caspa era, when SKT team figured out the late mech switches and started doing it, and also other Terran players in a different team like KT, Flash, like also doing the late mech switches. But Flash's late mech switches, he wasn't able to beat. Like he had some trouble playing against Soulkey in Caspa era. So
Okay,
the story of this ByukTube is like Soulkey is just Terran is the race that you are having like the ultimate defensive line, and Zerg is kind of like doing the rush type of like the stereotype, but Soulkey was showing the opposite. Like Flash was kept attacking, but Flash's attack didn't work, and Soulkey just kept defending, and like a wall. So that's how it just became, and that's how his nickname just got popularized. And yeah, that's how he decided to make his YouTube channel nickname ByukTube.
Well, his comment about wanting to play versus the mech switch makes sense now because I was unaware that Soulkey was like a mech switch specialist. So it makes sense now hearing that from him in the interview, and he played extremely well versus it. I know that we're gonna have the selection group or selection ceremony next week, right?
Right.
Okay, so
yes, group nomination. We are not gonna be translating it. We're not gonna be talking about it on a live stream. But we'll be once again coming back once those group nomination is done, and then a group A in a round of 16.
Yes, I remember in the shuttle interview he was talking about how Mini might give him the swap. Like Mini gets to switch somebody from a group, right, in the group selection. Do you think he's really going to give it to Shuttle?
Maybe they were in the same team back then.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting what these two scheme come up with, trying to figure out what's a good group for both of them.
Yeah, looks like casters are done wrapping it up.
Yep, so thank you guys so much for watching. As Scan mentioned, next week we're going to have the group selection, and then we'll be back with our first groups from the round of 16. Curious to see what Mini or Shuttle comes up with on how they want to switch in or out players from their group. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.